Hello everyone, welcome to Mindovermania. My name is Christian and today we're doing another pick a card reading where you get to choose the intuitive message meant for you. Today's topic is going to be, what is your passion? We're going to be taking a deeper dive into looking what's beneath your passion, what ignites your soul and brings fire to your chest or your stomach. This would be an excellent message for people that are maybe struggling to find what they're good at. Maybe there's some connection in your body that you're feeling very strongly about something and you're trying to figure out what's going on. I'm so excited for this pile, you guys. You have a lot of spark and life in you. So let's go ahead and show you your messages. We have 4 options to choose from today. In order to select your pile, put both feet firmly on the ground, take a couple deep breaths, close your eyes, clear your mind, and focus in on the area of just beneath your heart. So around your solar plexus area. Whenever you open your eyes, the first place your eyes are drawn to are more than likely your pile. Or if you're noticing when you're looking at a specific pile, you're feeling something in your gut or your chest that's saying, yep, nope, that's the one for me. That'll be a good indicator of the messages that you're meant to hear from those piles. Check out the links in the description down below to learn more about my website, my blog that talks about different spiritual and mental health topics, and consider booking a reading from me if you enjoy your reading today. I will see you at your pile, guys. Take care. Hello, everyone. You have chosen pile number 1, and these are going to be your messages on how to access your passion. What's kind of going on in your chest. Right off the bat, to do a quick vibe check to see if this is your pile. Right off the bat, I feel like you guys are respected by other people. I'm definitely feeling where your passion is lying is somewhere in between it's somewhere in your lower chest, so right above your heart space. It is tied a little bit to your solar plexus. However, I do feel like your heart is where this passion is rooted in. I feel like maybe you're very passionate about a person or a particular topic. So for example, I see you being like, if you're a lover, you're like, that is my ride or die. Or for example, I feel like you guys are very passionate about family. The reason why I've got this Queen of Pentacles card that's kind of floating over here, what had happened was when I was pulling you guys' cards, again, I don't look at these before I pull them over or turn them over, but I had picked up the deck and the Queen of Pentacles was just kind of lurking over there, and I looked at it because it's supposed to be flipped over, but when this was upright, I was thinking, okay, so maybe there's like an ancestors that's watching out for you, maybe a grandmother or a sister or a queen of some kind. That was interesting. But like, I also do feel like though that there's a person or a woman that's on your mind in the background. So maybe you're very passionate in the ways that you're like, yeah, I'm going to be protecting somebody or something. Yeah, and with the ram here too, I feel like there's just this fighting spirit that you're kind of closed off from right now, which you're like, I'm not closed off from my fighting spirit. And I was like, it's the way that you fight that's closed off from you. Because again, I feel like there's like a very passionate feminine energy that maybe you haven't tapped into. Again, this is regardless of gender, but I do feel like you're seeking more knowledge about how do I take this passion and will inside of me and make a change or make a difference either in this person's life or other people's. Let's go ahead and look at what card you got for your pile from the fucking honest oracle cards. We've got keep paddling out of this river full of turds. Okay, let's see what the booklet has to say about this card. We've got, it may feel like you're up shit creek in a cardboard boat with chopsticks for oars because fuck me, you've worked hard. You're nearly at the end of this bullshit stream, keep going. Yeah, maybe you guys are working towards an achievement of some kind, and I'm definitely hearing like keep paddling, keep going. So in order for you to really have access to this passion or this deeper rooted issue, I feel like your spirit guide team's just saying you have to keep going. And there's something about maybe you're not acknowledging someone on your journey. So maybe, for example, you've got a best friend who's been supporting you the whole way. Or maybe there's this kind of energy of you've not felt supported. There's something about, like, you're so close and yet so far. Sorry, y'all, I had to pause to, like, blow my nose. But, like, maybe you guys got sick or maybe you got backtracked in life for some way. that's why I think your spirit guide team's saying, no, 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 don't give up. There's a team coming. Like, there's so much out there. With the out of, I feel like you are feeling like you're down and out a little bit. You're kind of like, man, like, that other thing came into my life and just washed away all my resources, or I don't know where I'm supposed to go next. But, like, again, there's like this divine goddess energy protecting you. That's very specific. I was gonna say, normally I don't talk about like gods and goddesses, but there's just this divine feminine protection over you at this time that, yeah, things are gonna suck, but like, if you're doing it for the queen, I mean, maybe you're not gonna get laid, but man, that's gonna feel really good whenever you come out the other side and say, yep, I did that. I accomplished that thing, and you're going to be rewarded for whatever you do. It could be financial compensation, it could be finding the love of your life. Whatever this passion is, it's so deep rooted in your heart space that you can't help but be transformed from it. You know what I mean? Like what I'm immediately thinking of is like when I fell in love with someone really, really passionately. It wasn't just about the body and the mind and the spirit that all kind of worked together. It was just the fact that I was willing to grow and change in order to like growing and changing became an accomplishment that I needed to do in order to try to connect with this person. Now, at this current moment of this reading, I'm not with that person, but the point is because of my love and passion for this person, I was willing to undergo a transformation of looking at my deepest, darkest self to transform it so I would be open to more capabilities, responsibilities. Wow, I'm just having a hard time. Maybe that's what the issue is like I'm sitting with my heart space and it's like every time I sit there and I try to make it about them, and then it just comes back to me saying, hey, like, you don't have to do all those things to be loved by this person unconditionally. And it's just like, dang it, you know what I mean? But it's like your drive and your passion moves you forward. And so there's something under the surface that we gotta work through and clear that out in order to get you to your gal or whatever. And again, even if it's a masculine person that you're chasing, it's kind of like whatever the case, the energy feels very masculine on your part where you're like, nope, I gotta transform and grow and change in order to be accepting of this person's worth, which isn't how love works, but for you, it's working. You know what I mean? And you're very passionate about self-improvement, so if that's what it takes to make you heal and I don't know, there's something about like being fake. I'm like, you're not being fake. It's just, I feel like there's just something about you that like, it's all just tangled up in your chest. I hope that you can forgive me. How can I help you? I don't know why. I should have said what I didn't say. Oh god, yeah. Some of you guys, you're like, maybe you're co-parents with this person. That was like a very specific energy. With the how I can help you, there's something about this person's energy that you're willing to walk through mud and wade through your own tears to get to the other side for this person. You're like, you say the word, if I see you crying, I will go and conquer whatever I need to in order to make you feel safe. That's like kind of the root of your passion, is this energy of love and connecting with other people. But what's kind of blocking you right now is you need to have that courage for yourself in the first place. Okay? And there's something about like I'm seeing my boy pussy pin, and I'm feeling this energy of like, well, if I'm doing it for myself, I'm a pussy. But if I'm doing it for a woman or another person, then, oh, I'm hot shit. I'm cool. And that's a little derogatory, I'm not gonna lie, because that objectifies women, newsflash, but it also objectifies your will and prowess to protect. Because your heart has a very special place for yourself. You have your own creative energy, you have your own needs, wants, and desires. And to dismiss that in exchange for like an artificial glory, it's like, that's just full of shit. I'm literally like full of turds. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I think your desires as a masculine frequency, or again, non-gender bias, whatever it is you're doing, pile number one, like you have to let go of this artificial achievement thing, because to me, it's like, there's the energy of like, well, if I go out there and change the world, if I step up to the plate, I'm going to win this person back. And that's not guaranteed, right? And then you're like, oh, well, I grew along the way. And it's like, yeah, that's great for you, but you have to start doing things for you as a priority, right? And not from like a selfish standpoint. You're like, well, what does that mean? Because if I'm looking out for myself, how is that selfish? True, you have to make sure that you're coming from a place of kindness towards yourself. Because then that kindness towards yourself turns towards kindness towards others. So, say, for example, you're a masculine, right? And you were taught, like, I'm supposed to protect women. Well, then if you never interact with women to know what kind of protection they need, how are you going to know what they need protection from? And you're like, well, women don't know the ways that men work, so I get to be the one to decide how I'm going to protect her. It's like, okay, great. So you can protect her from an angry mob, which is more than likely not the case because you're one person. You can argue with me, but whatever. But like, how many times is a woman going to have an angry mob against them? Versus she's having a heart attack or a panic attack and she needs help and then you can't guide her through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, each woman has their own individual needs. And yeah, it would be nice having a warrior savior around, but like, if that's the only thing you provide, but you don't provide financial security, emotional safety, you don't stand up for her rights or do anything else, then is that really about protecting her? Is it about saving yourself and your ego? You know what I'm saying? So again, that's just one example of many of basically you trying to figure out in your heart, where is that passion lying? Because when you start to authentically protect yourself and provide yourself with the financial security, the emotional security, the protection, like, you're not going out there to the bar and trying to beat dudes up because you want to prove yourself. Why do you want to hurt yourself so bad? Because if you really want it to be about self-defense, you're going to go to you'd go to a mental health professional, first of all, to work on your daddy issues. Two, you'd be going out there and training to learn how to fight and do self-defense, because you need to have your mental power up to snuff. And you need to stop beating yourself up about old relationships that have nothing to do with your own insecurities, right? Because if your inner world and your heart space isn't protected, then other people can abuse it. Maybe you've been abused by women in the past because you didn't have the self-defense to protect your own heart, because you were taught that, well, all I'm good for is money and protection. When if you don't value yourself as more than that, you're not going to be able to have access to what you're truly passionate about. And you're not going to be able to attract a woman that you're going to feel just as passionate about, because she can't be doing all the work connecting you back to yourself. And maybe you're feeling like, but she already did that. And it's like, yes, but now here comes the choice element, right? Because this is where you're not fully understanding that she also has to choose to want you too. And I don't think you're willing to accept that rejection, and that you will be fine and okay without that person's rejection. And I think that's perfectly reasonable to be okay, but like, don't go and treat yourself like a pussy, or like you're this horrible ass person because a woman rejects you. That says nothing about your worth and says everything about the fact that she just doesn't want you. Or maybe she does want you, but she's not able and available at this time. Love yourself as a man or as a masculine energy to not go for things that don't serve you. Okay? And not making it about emotions and feelings and worthiness. Okay? I hope that you can forgive me. Yeah, there's something about like, you want forgiveness from this person, or you want a specific type of forgiveness for yourself. Okay? In order to access your inner passion, you have to stop killing your passion at its root. And that's coming down to your heart space. Yeah, maybe breath work would be beneficial. Like taking a couple deep breaths of just like feeling your heart in your chest and blowing away that blockage and say like, all right, what do I need to forgive myself for? There's something about hope, right? And I think you got to forgive yourself for giving hope to things and challenges to overcome that you're going to always get a reward for them. And you have to go back and challenge that hope, okay? It's not your responsibility to lead and guide and protect people that don't desire that wisdom from you. And even then, this person, like, I'm even sitting here feeling like you're still seeing the image of a woman from the lens of hostility towards yourself, because you're not realizing that you're neglecting all the elements that you've externalized with women. Okay? And you're placing that burden on a woman because society won't accept you as you are, when really you as a man need to take ownership of the fact that I am who I am. I'm a human person that's fully dimensional. And this gendered shit's bullshit. If I want to go out there and paint my nails and go drink beer, I want to go watch sports, and then I want to go home and I want to eventually schedule a massage or something, I can, because that's self-care. That has nothing to do with your masculinity. And if they're women that challenge that, then tell them to go fuck themselves. I don't know why. You're sitting here like, I don't know why I am this way. I don't know why I'm feeling a certain kind of way, and it's only around this person. Okay, so something about this passion with your heart space, like you're not fully understanding the why, and it's your responsibility to ask yourself why. You can't externalize it with chasing this person. And again, this feels like chasing rather than pursuing. Because if you want to like marry this person, like I see like this woman who like, again, you've idealized this woman in your head, like with the cherry blossoms and all this other stuff. You're like, I'm going to have this like healthy, beautiful child with them, and I'm going to worship the ground she walks on, and I'm going to treat her like a princess. When my company works out, I'm going to spend all this money on her. Like, that has nothing to do with her though. Okay? And that's why I'm asking you, what is your passion? Get deeper beneath the person. Okay, you want a family. Why? Because you want a home? Okay. That's a passion. You want a home. But what do you want to prove? What do you want to be? And why are you needing to use another person's emotional and mental labor to do those things? And we're like, well, I can't build a family and a home without her. That's bullshit. Women do it all the time. We do it without having children, and we do it without having men around. And you're like, well, I'm not a woman. And it's like, so? You can still be passionate about wanting to build a family. And again, like, you know, there are societal limitations and whatnot for guys. I acknowledge that. But like, get involved with a sports team. Get involved with community. There are so many other ways to fulfill this passion without bleeding on other people. You know, don't create a family and create another toxic cycle in your life when you don't know what your true passion is. I should have said what I didn't say. Maybe you guys are beating yourself up about something you said to a woman. You're like, well, if they just see that I'm a better person now, if I just prove to them that, yeah, I am about like human rights and all that other stuff. It's like, it's not about what you said. It's about what you didn't say. Right? Maybe you didn't say something when times were rough and things were important then. You know? Like, okay, now you're coming in now, but it's like, it's too late. I needed you back when I wasn't okay. You know? Now I've learned to take care of myself and I don't need you. Oof. That hurts, right? And so now you're like, well, who am I to you if I'm not helping you? And it's like, the helping isn't necessary. This person's been independent without you. So you coming in and trying to say like, well, I'm a guy, so I know best and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to take care of all that doesn't help anybody, especially when you don't know what you're talking about or you don't know what this person's needs are. So the best way for you to access your passion for this person or this situation or this cause is to really feel why it's important to you. Get rid of the cause, okay? Because something caused you to feel this way. And when you figure out the cause, then you're going to get your answer. Right? I'm passionate about mental health because it affects me. And I know it affects people I care about. Why does this woman or this person cause you to want to change or to do things and motivate you? Is it about what you want to receive? Because that's not what passion's about. That's not going to get you anywhere. Because first, you got to receive that energy from yourself. So now that I'm taking care of myself, for example, I'm passionate about making sure that I take the time to eat because I need it for my body. And now I'm making eating enjoyable because I'm making food I want. I prioritize my appearance and what I look like because I'm passionate about taking care of that version of myself. Because it's coming back to me and what I look like because it's authentic to me. Are you doing those things for yourself first? Maybe, but maybe not. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of the cards. We've got Perfect Storm, the courage to step into life, 44. And then we've got the farther gate, bold step forward, 55. So we got 44 and 55. Yeah, maybe this person you're very in sync with, right? But here's the thing, if you're so passionate about them, are you passionate about what they have? So for example, since this feels like a more masculine energy, again, take what resonates. I feel like there's something about you guys, pile number one, that you see what other women have, and that's what you want. You're like, I want to have a family, but do you actually want to have a child, or do you want to have the ability to have access to a woman to take care of you? You want safety and security. For a long time, women have been caretakers. And if a man marries a woman, he gets all the benefits of, I get a maid, I get a cook, I get a servant, I get a sex worker, I get blah, 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 blah. Women are not putting up with that shit anymore. Especially if the only thing you're providing is not even money anymore, maybe your job has better healthcare. That's it. You know what I mean? Because if you haven't done the work, and I'm hearing you don't know what she wants. Look around. You have to ask what this woman wants. She's not an object that a need-filling machine. But that's how you treat yourself. Right? When was the last time you gave yourself the same compassion that this woman gave you? And that's what you're jealous of, is you can't give yourself the same love that this woman gives you. So you externalize and put that burden on her. And you're like, well, that's the woman's place. Why? I think you'd be a lot better off doing it for yourself. Because then you'd be able to see women that actually do take care of you, and she's not going to seem like such an anomaly. Because you're going to know how to take care of yourself, and so you want to know who else can take care of you in ways that you can't do it for yourself. And again, there's something about just the way you're feeling. It's because you haven't had access to your emotions before. Because you were taught that you need to suppress yours. With the farther gate, the bold step forward, I feel like you're continuing to choose bold steps forward. And that's the only way you're going to access your passion again. Or connect with your passion, is because you're the type of personality, bold number one. I don't know if you're a Leo, maybe you're a Scorpio, or Taurus. There's very strong moving forward frequency in this pile. And you need to do more than just do a meditation. You have to be bold and take action. The limitation you have now is you're waiting for this woman to see, or you're waiting for this person to see what you're doing, the accomplishments. This person doesn't care, because your accomplishments and the way that you're gauging value in life is different than this person's. And you fundamentally can't change what this person values. Especially because they're very independent. With the ram, it's like this person's probably just as stubborn as you. And if your goal is to have a union with somebody that doesn't want to respect your values because those values are hurting them, then go towards someone that either is in alignment with you or challenge those values. Because it sounds like they're made on top of sand anyway, and you're full of shit. And you don't know that yet, but you haven't done the work to figure out why this person feels that way. And again, you get to choose if you want to hold on to those values after you've done the work, but right now you're not doing it. Right now you're just being like, I'm just gonna everything's gonna work out, because it's divine timing. No. If work is not done, you're gonna lose this person. Hands down. With Perfect Storm, the courage to step into life. Yeah, some of you guys, you're afraid to step up and willing to take the steps necessary to start your own journey. Regardless of what your spiritual path is, there's something about, there's this storm inside of you and you're looking away from it. You're very susceptible to other people's influences right now. And there's something about the spark that this person gave you that you don't want to lose it, but you're making it about the relationship instead of about what fire has started under the surface. That's how you're going to connect to the passion, is navigating the storm within so you can calm it. Because that's something that you can self-regulate. And a lot of you guys are like, well, I don't have control over it. This is my manly biological urge. That is the biggest heap of shit I've ever heard come out of someone's mouth. That's like the same way as saying, well, because of my period, I'm going to go and, kill a bunch of people. And it was because of my hormone cycle. And yeah, there's a lot of doofuses out there that would believe that's the case, but every woman would tell you, no, that's an issue with her. Right? So you sound like that guy to other men When you say, oh, well, it's my biological need to have sex with this many women or whatever, everyone knows you're full of shit. But you believed it because someone else stronger than you told you that, and you're just so susceptible to influence. Because your masculinity wasn't built on a solid foundation. And it's okay to be challenged as a masculine, because if you're strong enough in yourself, if you've got a strong enough will to fight everybody and willing to fight women, then why can't you fight for yourself on the inside? You got the Ten of Swords here. Yeah, so you're at the completion of a cycle, guys and gals. Basically, I'm just feeling like you are now at the space where this old version of you has died. Okay, you can't go back after meeting this person or after this scenario, right? And so with the passion that you have inside of you, I feel like the time is like with these vultures, you're eating up the dead pieces of you, right? Like there's like this energy of like part of what you need to do is the old version has died and the new one's coming out. So let the vultures eat away at the things that aren't serving you anymore. Right now, you're like, it's such a bad thing. I'm going through all these changes. And it's like, it's fine. You're growing out of this shell that wasn't serving you. But your ego hasn't caught up yet. You know what I mean? And your mind, body, and spirit is transforming into something that's better serving for you. And it's going to help you access your passion because you got to eat away all the other crap that's getting in the way. You got the, what is that? The Nine of Wands in reverse. Yeah, for some reason I keep feeling like it's supposed to be a 10, but it's not. Yeah, there's something about like, I'm feeling there's like a resilience here that you're not acknowledging. I feel like you're always trying to go at it alone. And I think that does dull your passion a little bit just from the standpoint that like, yeah, you do need to meditate and be by yourself. But you want to be with this person also. And I feel like your spirits are like intertwined. Or enmesh. Yeah, this feels more like enmeshment because I feel like you guys are like, yeah, we're so like, we're far apart, but we're together. But it's like, but you're not together. There's some kind of a fundamental, like you're reaching, but you're not fully understanding this person or their value system. And I think that's why this feminine is like saying, nope, stop. You haven't grown there yet. You haven't come out the other side. And your ego's sitting there like, yes, I have. Yes, I have. I've done the work. And I'm like, if you have, then why are you so angry? Why are you so conflicted? You know, with this fox, it's like all beaten up and bruised. It's like, I feel like you're trying to soothe your wounds or soothe your ego in a way that, yeah, it's like, again, you're trying to like reclaim your masculinity when it's like, it was never lost. You know what I mean? Again, I'm seeing like with the fox, it's like, the fox is just a fox. Why would a fox try to pretend to be a wolf when it's a fox? You know what I'm saying? It's like nature has different balances in different ways. And the fox, while it doesn't have the strength in the pack of a wolf, foxes are very cunning. They're sexy. They have all kinds of gifts that wolves don't. That doesn't mean like a fox isn't going to find a mate just because, like, the thing is though, a fox isn't supposed to be breeding with a wolf. And I think that's where you got to determine, is this person the same as you even? But with this ram energy, I don't think you're going to get that kind of response from this person if you try coming in there being like, oh, well, this is like, I want a traditional woman, and then this person's definitely not traditional. You're trying to mend or bend this person into whatever, you're just going to get a ram. You know what I mean? So it's like, understand who and what you need, who you are, and do you need to change this person to fit into your value system? Then that person's not for you. And then you're like, but the passion we have, whatever. No. If that person doesn't support your belief system, then that's not for you. You know? And like I said, you are jealous of what this person has. You're jealous of a connection to source that this person has that you don't. Because that means letting go of your ego. The Magician, yeah. Okay, so this is about transforming and utilizing what you have. So something about like your connection with spirit isn't coming from source yet. And for some of you guys, it's like, well, maybe you did all the spiritual practicing, but it's not coming from within your heart yet. Or there's a blockage here. Something about you need to spread your wings and fly. Like I'm seeing with this like arachnid type fairy dude. There's something about you that's maybe different. I see with this sword here. maybe you are a protector, but you've got many different gifts and many different pathways to choose from. And so I see you, though, you're leaning into your head and you're not always able to discern when your ego's coming in. I do feel like there's kind of like a lack of compassion. With the fiery redhead, I'm literally seeing like maybe you're kind of stubborn. Maybe you're kind of like, I'm gonna do my way. And again, that's why you're attracted to this stubborn ass woman. But like, you don't know the difference between a stubborn woman who that's part of her personality and a woman that's trying to protect herself, that doesn't have the same system as you. And so, but then you're continuing to try and beat your head against a wall and try to conform to what this person wants instead of being like, why do you got to conform and change to anybody else? You know what I mean? That's where that stubbornness coming in is being like, well, I'm a shapeshifter, I can do whatever, but then you're not showing who you truly are. And there's something about lack of boundaries that when it comes to like passion between you and another person, it's always about you. And it's not centered in your heart. Because your heart looks beyond you and what you want. Like, again, like if you have this passion for starting a family, I'm literally feeling like that's not coming from your heart. It's coming from your head. And you're like, I feel it in my chest. I'm like, no, guys, there's something else going on between you and this person that you won't acknowledge. Ooh, okay, we've got like the shadow children. Yeah, so these are shadow aspects of yourself that you've neglected. Say, for example, you're secretly an artist. And there's artists in your family, right? But nobody acknowledged those artists because, oh, well, they weren't, their artwork wasn't profitable. Or, oh yeah, Uncle Joe, he was a romanticist, but he never got any women, so he died single. So he's got a weak bloodline or something like that. There's something about like you need to romanticize your life a little bit more for soothing your aches and woes. That because of what society tells you, you can only have access to that from a woman. Start romanticizing your own life. Start healing your inner child parts. And stop making it about, like, I gotta create a child to go live through. Because that's what a lot of men in your lineage that you don't want to admit do that. They create children to live out innocence or live out non-traditional masculine traits. Like, maybe you weren't a fighter, but you had to be because of the traumas in your life. If you're a grown-ass man, you can still do whatever the fuck you want. And like, yeah, you still need to protect your turf and whatever, but like, there's this ego associated with it when it's like, hey, you know what, actually, I don't like to drink that much. I'm only doing it because my friends are doing it and I'm afraid of looking emasculated. So the fuck what? Maybe I like crystals. Maybe I like sharing. Maybe I like holding people's hands. And that's fucking it. There are people out there that are just as stubborn as you that have also the same things. And you're like, well, I don't know where these safe men are out there. Start the change. Express compassion. There are people like they're out this, but you're not going to find them when you're treating yourself like you're a freak. Ah, the judge. Yup. A lot of what you're judging other people for is for the stuff you can't have for yourself. But you keep it between you and yourself because you're tired and you can't let go of what was. You keep saying like, well, maybe if I just become this ideal man or this ideal whoever, then maybe they're going to treat me better. Maybe they're going to treat me some other way. Maybe the girl of my dreams wouldn't choose that other guy over me. So instead you're going to judge her and judge people like her for always choosing the bad man instead of making it about yourself. There's a conversation you need to have between you and yourself and your inner judge because of what you've witnessed as a kid and the things you witness around you that weren't okay. And it's those men's fault for those belief systems perpetuating them and pushing them onto you. You don't have to subscribe to any of that shit. Yeah, I feel like there's just someone in your life who knows who you are on a soul level, and their heart is beating for you, but it isn't this person. Okay? And I think like you have to know your heart well enough to know when it's time to give up and when it's time to move forward. Yeah, we've got the woman in the bath towel that looks all creepy with death. Yeah, I don't know if these cards showed up because like the camera's at a different angle than I normally do. Yeah, so basically there's something about your belief system where it's like you've got this like hidden dark side that you're like I'm constantly trying to like, you know, women only see the nice side of me, but I've got this dark side that I'm constantly battling, and it's like this protector vibe that's secretly misunderstood and whatever. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, it comes across as very boyish. Okay, that's a very harsh thing to say, but I'm just gonna tell you that's what that is. Because if you can't look at yourself in the mirror, and if you're gonna continue to run and battle a version of yourself that you don't understand, how is that being an adult? How is that being masculine? By not saying, hey, I have the strength that to say that I'm not a boy anymore. Inside of me, there are no shadows that I have not touched. There's no version of me that's going to receive some divine judgment that doesn't belong to me. Right? Because there's a bunch of you that are saying, well, this is what God is telling me, blah, blah, blah. It's your ego. You don't know the difference. And they're like, you keep saying that. I'm like, yeah, because you're not getting it. You haven't learned to separate your ego from God or whoever you're channeling. And like I heard the word like Jesus or whatever. Yeah, I think like maybe you grew up in a Western society where like Jesus is worshipped everywhere, and it's like so ingrained in any masculine spiritual teaching that you guys are still so integrated in idealizing a masculine image that isn't the truth of your divinity, right? And I think you guys have a hard time acknowledging that because that system works for you, and it's something that you believe in with your heart and chest, but you're not really connecting to the deeper reasons why. And again, it's like maybe you're pursuing a pagan woman or a feminist woman, and I'm like, bro, like you don't get it. You can say it, but I'm feeling in your heart space, you're still in your head, and you haven't completed that connection between your head and your heart. And some of you guys are going to throw your hands up and be like, I don't know what Chris is saying. I give up. And it's like, that's where you need to start. Keep paddling. God's going to show you where you got to go. But out, the fact that your response is instead of leaning in to your shadows and looking at them for what they are, you're going to pull out. And that's where the issue is you're giving up on yourself. You want someone else to lead instead of you taking the lead. Being the leader of your own heart. Being the leader of your family. You're afraid of what it's like to feel. You're afraid of your own children. You're afraid of everything turning back on you and turning away. They already have done that, guys. And then you're like, oh, well, it's because I was a pussy. No, it's because you're not getting the truth of your masculinity. It's in your chest, it's in your heart. And it has nothing to do with the people outside of you, because until you overcome this wall, your passion, all of that, it's just going to keep dripping and bleeding all over everyone else. Because what you are claiming as passion for other people is a piece of you crying out for help. It's still an inner child piece that's wounded, maybe is afraid of women, but there's like a shadowy aspect that you're not sitting with, and you're not dealing with it, and it's bleeding out on other people. Because like I could see this judge literally being like, yeah, I've got to judge other people of what's right and wrong, and you're saying it's for you. It's not. You're just doing it. And then this is the puppeteer inside of you. Maybe you blame women for certain things. Maybe there's an ugly truth that you don't want to acknowledge, that maybe you do have some secret hatred of women. Maybe there's a truth you don't want to see. And I want you to understand, it's okay to have negative thoughts and feelings that are not socially appropriate. It is your job and responsibility, though, to talk with that part and tell it, hey, I know it's not okay to have those thoughts and feelings. Why are you feeling that way? What is the message you're trying to show me and tell me? Where does the healing need to happen so you can let go of this idea? Some of you don't know what the idea is. Some of it's you're alone and you don't want to be. Some of it's I want to find passion and a will to live again. I want to stop constantly fighting myself and other men. I want someone to reach out to me first instead of me always taking in the effort. Start listing all those things and then let go. Because there's enough going on inside of you that you don't need to add on to it. When those belief systems are clouding your judgment, you're not going to connect with what's meant for you. Okay? So have that same passion for your heart inside of your chest, because that belongs to you. No one else can touch it. No one else can tell it who and what it is. He or she is. And start there. Help yourself first, and then you're going to get to the deep root of, how do I have access to this passion again? And it's something about, like, accepting losing. Accept other people considering you a loser. Who cares? This is about you and your passion for life and yourself and your success. You're not going to get anywhere calling yourself a loser because of what other people think and feel. Because who cares? They're not you. And you are what you need the most. If you got to be your own mom, then do it. But don't expect adult women to be doing that work for you. Okay? Wow, that was a really tough message, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around and listening to it. I really appreciate it. I'm cheering you guys on because this is really hard work, and I appreciate you guys being willing to participate in it. Please like, subscribe, comment down below if you really resonated with it. And if you're interested in booking a reading with me, links are in the description down below. I also have a blog where I talk about gendered spirituality and how they impact us. So feel free to check that out as well. Anyways, I will see you guys next time. Take care. Wish you the best of luck. Hello everyone, you have chosen group number 2, and this is going to be your reading about how to access your passion. What's going on underneath the surface? We're going to start off with a quick vibe check to make sure it's your pile. Off the bat, this is my witchy pile. These are the people that are intuitive. You maybe want to start a spiritual business or join a community or start a community. I'm feeling where the root of your passion is. It's in your heart, but it's in a much softer place. I was feeling like maybe you want to create some kind of a home or feel a lot more comfortable in your spiritual skin and being able to just share your belief systems with everybody. Maybe you guys are creative. Maybe you guys are really pretty. I don't know. There's just like a very whimsical, fun vibe with this pile. Yeah, maybe you guys are trying to figure out how to start a business so that way you can be like, hey, even if it's not like a spiritual thing, you're like, whatever my passion is, I want to do it for a living. I want to be achieving my goals. Maybe some of you guys want to help people, but like you just want to just do this thing that maybe hasn't fully come into fruition yet, or maybe you're just trying to move towards or move past a situation from your past. Alright, the card you got was Get Off Your Fucking Ass and Move, 41. Oh man, that was like pretty clear, guys. It says, seriously, you haven't done anything about that? Don't let your own self-doubt hold you back. You are far more capable than you think you are, but you have to do something. Fucking do it now. Your angels and guides have your back. Man, maybe, are you guys a little harsh on yourselves? Or judging yourselves for not getting your... Maybe you're not meeting your goals, maybe you're not meeting your quotas. I'm like, why are you using the term quota? And that's... Ugh. Okay, so I think, like, right off the bat, if you want to start accessing your passion, you gotta stop, like, corporatizing your business in your spirituality. You know what I mean? It's kind of being like, okay, I gotta have this, like, rigid, you know, sales goal every time you go to a vendor market, or something about, like, you're watching a TV show and you're like, all right, this is what I want to be doing, but then you're, like, not taking any action to, like, do the things you want to do. There's something about it hurts your heart every time you're like, yeah, I would totally do that. And then, like, you walk away instead of having a conversation with that person. Be like, how did you get into this? What do I do to be like you? I feel like you guys are feeling a little dejected and hurt from yourself. And that's killing your passion. Because you're just not... I don't know. My eyes are getting drawn to this, my little axolotl sticker. Who's, like, all happy and stuff. And being like, this makes you happy. You love it. Why won't you love me? This is you. Talking to you. You know what I mean? We even got, like, the colors here with, like, the pink and the blue. Maybe there's, like, an imbalance between your masculine and your feminine where you're like, well, all the spiritual people are telling me, like, I just gotta sit back and receive. You know what I mean? And I gotta be gentle, and I gotta be, like, there's something about, like, you're listening to other people's spiritual advice, when they're just kind of selling you something so they can make money off of you. Because to me, it's like if you run a business, like, you still gotta work. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you can just like sit on your butt and then money just randomly falls into your bank account. That's not how this works at all. I'm gonna tell you that. However, though, you also don't have to force yourself to be meeting like very strict, rigid milestones, right? It'll be like, all right, I gotta help or hear 30 people by the end of this month. And it'll be like, okay, some days you're gonna have more clients or customers than others. But it's all working with the divine plan. Because maybe you help, like, one of your clients with someone who's gonna be a long term business partner. That happened to me one time where I was like, wow, like I gave someone a reading, they came back, and then now we've been doing events together and things. You know what I mean? Whatever the case is, you gotta move. Move your body. Don't stay stuck and trapped at home. Don't hide behind your tarot readings. Okay? Like, I know that you guys want to be divine and do your spirituality, but you also gotta like live a little bit and stop making yourself out to be like, I gotta be pure and healing. Like, yeah, I have to be pure to heal people, or I gotta be like clearing my energy out. Like, Spirit's like, go as you are right now. Like, we need people right now. We're on the floor calling you. There are people literally manifesting you, and you're still sitting on your butt, sitting here thinking like, man, why am I not famous yet? It's like, come on, go have fun. All right, so we've got this anxiety card here. So yeah, some of you guys, you are stressed out because of what you're seeing on the news. Maybe the weather is really crappy and crazy in your area. That's kind of funny. Like, even this cat is like, what are you worried about? You know, there's something about, like, you literally have God on your side. You've got answers. You've got a whole army of people floating around in space. No amount of ayahuasca ceremonies are going to save your butt from getting up and starting your day and making your dreams come true. Yeah, there's something about, like, the economy's going to be down. I'm not going to make it. It's like, okay, you're going to struggle, but you know what? You're struggling right now. What difference is going to make? We're all hurting out here, but you guess what? You're going to meet people that are going to help you survive. If anything, now is the time to do this sort of work because people love the healing that you bring. That's how you're going to survive yourself, is what you give out is going to be given back to you. You're like, man, you know what? I'm shit out of luck. I'm stuck at a gas station. I don't have enough money to get gas to get to my next destination. Then all of a sudden, that random guy comes in and be like, hey, I remember a reading you gave me a long time ago. Here's $1,000. Thank you for changing my life and making me better. And they're gonna go, what the fuck? You know what I mean? It's things like that where it's like, again, I'm not guaranteeing that that's always gonna happen, because it's like, you have to like take care of yourself. But that's why the movement helps. Okay? It's like, it's gonna be a little bit of practical, a little bit of whimsy, a little bit of luck, and a little bit of trust. Right? That's the special secret formula, is you're gonna learn this trifecta as you go. Okay? I'm being told to talk about my situation with Austin. So when I moved to Austin, Texas, I didn't have a job lined up. I didn't know what was going on. And I ended up having a bad roommate situation when I first moved here. I left and I was sitting there like, should I actually stay here in Austin? And I made something happen. I made a really great connection with my roommate, and then I met some of the most amazing people that opened me up to who I was. And then everything started working together. Okay? So if you're scared about making that move, sometimes staying in your current destination isn't going to solve your problems. Okay? Like, there's something about, like, again, you don't need to be constantly moving on a whim. Ground yourself, but if something's going to make you happy, go for it. You know what I mean? Like, there's, like, you lost the light in your eyes. And I'm sorry, like, do you really want to die and tell your grandkids on your deathbed that you wish you would have lived life a little bit more? Again, look at all this, like, purple, pink, and blue energy. It's all the same. Look at that. Like, we've got the same exact color here. If you're, like, getting 50,000 signs and signals that this is meant for you, what else can we tell you? You know what I mean? Like, you're all scared for no reason. I mean, okay, it's not for no reason because it's a biological response, but, like, seriously. You're being an ass to your spirit guide team at this point. You got the tree with this light and the roots. Yeah. Get in tune with nature. Connect with your body. Heal your spirit. And understand that, like, you gotta go from bottom to top and back. Okay? You are solid. You're stable. You're protected. Okay? When you have such a strong, firm belief system in spirit, you're gonna be okay, like, all the time. Like, I'm telling you this as someone who started working in this industry and met so many amazing people that were so deeply spiritual that, like, you knew that they were always gonna be okay. It didn't matter how much money they had, how much money they didn't have. When they're so firmly rooted in who they are and who they're following and their trust, amazing things happen. Like, I'm talking like supernatural crazy stuff. And it all came from trust. And you're like, whoa, that's like a lot. And I'm like, I know. It's a little intimidating. You're like, I'm this squishy little axolotl guy who doesn't know what's going on half the time. That's okay. That's why Spirit picked you. Probably because you're better for this work. Because if you're squishy and soft and kind and cute, it's a lot easier to, like, mold you into a person that is able to survive all these things because you're squishy. And people like that. I don't know. There's something about, like, you know how to move. You know how to groove. Maybe you're a dancer. Maybe you got a nice body. I don't know. With this grandma here, yeah, access your inner grandma energy, okay? Have faith in your spirituality. Like, there's something about, like, maybe you guys, like, really undermine your inner wisdom. Maybe you inherited a lot of knowledge from your grandparents or your family that you don't realize is special and spiritual in nature. Like, I'm sorry, like, if you're the type of woman who can literally, like, whip up food that can feed people and make them smile and it's got that special little touch, that's so special, okay? Like, maybe you are really great at making a home environment. Maybe you're the type of person, like, all right, I'm throwing a birthday party for my friend and I can make everything exactly to support them and make a wish come true that they didn't even know about. Like, maybe you didn't even know that this person was really wanting a surprise birthday party. Then you plan it, and all the friends are there, and then they're just feeling so overwhelmed and loved and welcomed with soup. Maybe you're giving people soup. I don't know. There's just something about you that, like, you don't need to do this big, grand thing for people to be like, oh no. Like, all you gotta do is, like, if you feel like home for somebody, people are gonna come in and they're gonna just want your attention and to help you out. You're like, hey, I'm starting a vendor market or whatever. And they're like, oh, let me come in. Let me help. I want to be a part of this. I like you. I like what you stand for. Let's do it. And then everything will get taken care of. So when you're trying to stress out, trying to control everything, that scares people off because they're like, whoa, I didn't know you were a control freak. And you're like, no, I'm not a control freak. I'm just anxious. Here's this girl on a branch that's about to break and she's just trusting in faith. This is how your life has been up until this point. So why is it now, when you finally get a tarot reader who's doing this professionally, who gave up their 9 to 5 to go do this thing, now you're doubting yourself? Now you're like, oh no, all these times, all this spiritual stuff that happened to me, all this wisdom I received. I got a tarot reading once that told me I was gonna be special and now I'm gonna run away. It's okay! It's okay, you're meant for this. I'm also seeing, like, the nails. Like, I'm sitting here like, yeah, you take care of your nails, you look good. You just gotta be you. Don't do anything else. Be your squishy little axolotl self. Whatever that looks like. And the less you fight this energy, the less back and forth you go between yourself about, oh, well, should I look this way because that's what the algorithm likes? No, stop it. We're in the new age of artificial intelligence. You can't make this level of autism up, okay? They can't make a you anymore. The AI's too weird. They want to make weird-ass porn stars and all this other weird stuff with AI. You're just you, and that's why people want you, because they're tired of the fake stuff. They're tired of the crystal ball energy, when they're just like, I just like you doing your thing. That's it. It's art. It's authentic. It's not artificial, and that's why you gotta move. Because you gotta find your people and bring that love back to community again. I lived my life through you. Yeah, some of you guys are watching tarot readers online and you're just like, man, I want to do what she's doing. I want to do what he's doing. You're living through somebody else. Go live your life. Go on your own adventure. Create an adventure. You know what I mean? You like the Lord of the Rings? Well, go make your own Lord of the Rings adventure. And you're like, well, I can't do that. I don't have the money for that. So, if you're literally being called and guided on an adventure that's meant for you, what's holding you back? Like, what does my family think? What does your family think? They want you to get off your butt and go do something. Do something else, because they hate seeing you being sad. If they don't hate you seeing being sad, then use your spirit guide teams, because they're crying for you. They're like, oh my god, I just found the most amazing person ever. This squishy oxalotl person that I want to show off to the rest of the world. I want to show you off. Dang it. Pile number 2. Like, to me, I'm like, look at this amazing person that I found. Look at it. And then everyone's gonna go, wow, I looked at it. It's great. Can I get your number? Can I work with you? And I'll be like, yes, work with this person. They're so great. And then you're just they're like, no, I'm not. Well, get over it, people. Because you're being guided here anyway. Listen, you showed up for this message. You knew what this was about before you knew it. And you're just like, fuck. And I'm like, I know. Where's all the turmoil coming from? What's blocking your passion, guys? I will show you some signs and synchronicities. You're like, okay, so I've been getting these signs and synchronicities. I'm supposed to start a YouTube tarot reading channel, or I'm supposed to start a business, or I'm supposed to start a project. Start with a book. Start with art. Start with something small, something achievable. Because that's how I got here, was I started writing a book out of spite, because I said, my intuition told me, oh yeah, I've got to go on this spiritual journey. I said, no, screw that. I don't want to do it. So I wrote a book, and then it led me here anyway. I'm just saying, you can't escape this journey. So save yourself some time, money, and energy. And like, those things that you thought you were wasting your time with, they weren't a waste. You're gonna be amazing when you look back on your journey in 5-10 years. And you're gonna go, this is what Spirit was doing. This is why Spirit sent me this person. This is why this situation changed my life in that way. There's something about, like, go dress in that dinosaur costume, get on your scooter, and go do that weird thing that everyone's gonna love you for anyway. You're like, people don't like me, I'm too weird. Shh. Yes, they do. I heard the word glomp, and we're not doing old memes. I projected my unhappiness onto you. Yeah, some of you guys, you're making yourselves miserable and physically sick by trying to hold back your awesome. And it's sad. They're like, oh, well, I've got this disability, and I can't. You ever consider that by you trying to stifle yourself, you're doing harm to your body and your mind and your spirit? Yes, obviously you will have physical limitations that will not go away. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, is don't project a crappy outlook to your life when there's so much in you. My eyes are getting drawn to Thor's hammer. I'm literally like, if Thor came up to you and said, you, group number 2, you have been chosen to be the savior of humanity, what say you? And you're like, you have the wrong guy. I don't know what you're doing with your giant-ass beard and hammer, but, I'm a squishy oxalotl. And they were like, yes, we need you, little oxalotl friend. That Odin himself has selected you to be the one to help bring faith to humanity. And you're like, me? And you're like, Chris Hemsworth here is kind of hot. And he's like, I don't know what that means. I don't know why you people have fetishes for Archangel Michael. But yes, we will be here to provide divinity to you. That's all you gotta do, guys. That's how you're gonna access your passion. It's literally be like Thor. If Chris Hemsworth or some hot, sexy person has to come out from on high to tell you that you're special and worthy, then you can be like, okay. Then this is your sign. This is your definitive sign to let that hot, sexy person tell you, please, for the love of God, just do your thing. Be yourself. Don't try to be special. Don't get in your head. Just say, hi, I'm me. And I'll be like, thank you, God, Jesus. There's still humans out there that don't look like the Kardashians, that don't subscribe to this other crazy shit. Okay? You deserve to move on in peace. Yeah, some of you guys, maybe you're holed up on your past, essentially. Select peace. Don't go chasing after that angry asshole who stinks. Literally just say, okay, alright, you win. Cool beans, you're the big bad villain guy who hurt everybody, yeah. Just remember they're just assholes that lose in the end. They're a fucking asshole, but don't tank your life over some idiot. Seriously, like, you don't need to go out and start fights with everybody. You just gotta sit there and say, hey, save that part for pile number 1. Pile number 2 is gonna sit here and be like, like, okay, you're gonna make fun of me. You're gonna make fun of my talents. Great, cool, no one cares. Not everyone is out to hurt me. There are other good people out there who care. Yeah! Like I said, like, maybe you guys in your small town, you're sitting there thinking, like, man, I'm like the only witchy person. I'm the only one here that likes this stuff. I'm kind of weird. I see you, like, with, like, a blanket over your head. You're eating ramen in your cold-ass apartment. Guess what? There are people out there who care. I care. Like, this is the pile. I'd be like, oh yeah, send me a DM, please. I want more friends. I want to learn more about what you're doing. But you're hurting yourself. And people hurt you, right, for your belief system. You're not going to be feeling as hurt when you realize there's a whole bunch of other people out there that would literally cosplay as you and do weird things with you. Okay, not like that. Like, I mean, like in the fun way. Like, I'm seeing, like, that was supposed to be in the context of a convention, or, like, you know what I mean? Like a tarot reading convention or something. There are people who care. Okay, okay. I don't have to be mean to survive. I will if I have to be. Yeah, some of you guys are like, maybe you're little angry axolotls. And Thor's like, oh shit. Pile number 2, you're an angry axolotl. It is worthy of the gods. You're a little scary at times. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you can make grown men cry. And, you don't always need to be the soft, squishy axolotl. It's okay, because you can protect yourself. But just be safe. You know, don't go picking fights. Like I see you guys being like, yeah, you know what? We stood up to the big bad guy. We're gonna go into this bar with angry people and we're gonna turn it into that scene from Rapunzel. Don't do that. It's not gonna happen. It doesn't matter how much spiritual power you have. You can't change the whole world. But in some places you can. When you got a good audience, you know, I'm seeing, like, start a random dance party. It's gonna work out in your favor. I am not my anger. Random dance party. Yeah, you're allowed to be upset and angry. Like, maybe you're tired of being like, I'm the cute, squishy axolotl person, but secretly I could kill your whole family. If you are one of those people where you are like, I'm just tired of feeling messed up. Maybe I'm really tired of, like, defending. Maybe you have, like, intergenerational trauma. Maybe you don't know who your parents were, or, like, your ancestors. And you're like, I don't even know how to connect to my ancestors and my religion. And I'm just really freaking tired of these certain demographics of people always shitting on my family and who I am. Remember that you are not your anger. And while your anger is justified, there is so much more to you. You can be so passionate about things, but don't go out there trying to hurt other people when you've got so much more on your plate that can bring you joy and peace. Again, don't project your anger onto people that have no business putting it there. You know, let other people fight the battles for you. I am able to protect myself. Yeah, that said, it's up to your discretion, you know? Like, if you're sitting there doing your little tarot reading thing out there and some asshole comes up to you and be like, Jesus is praying for you, you're gonna go to hell, and I'll be like, I'm already there. Send me another one. You know what I mean? Like I will show you techniques on how to deal with people. You just gotta heckle these idiots until they go away, or call the cops. Yeah, but there's something about you that you just need to learn how to protect yourself better. Use your intuition. Again, if you are very spiritually powerful, if you're not meant to be somewhere, you're not gonna end up there. Spirit's gonna guide you. Or if you're sitting and be like, man, I shouldn't have shown up, then listen. Listen, that's gonna be important, especially around right now. All these crazy people. I will accept things I don't like if it's the truth. Yeah. Maybe you mess up once in a while. Maybe you don't like something. Maybe you're sitting there going like, man, I don't like the type of sage they're burning. Maybe I don't like what this person's costume looks like. Okay. There's a huge difference between taking a stand for a political reason because you're like, hey, you're hurting a group of people, versus, I don't like what you look like. You know what I mean? You gotta, like, learn to have some grace about saying, hey, I'm not gonna speak about topics that I don't understand. I'm not gonna sit here and if someone tells me to not do something and I don't like it, like, there's something that, like, you don't have to do things you don't like, but you also got to respect other people's boundaries. You know, respect people's practices, and just be a decent person. And there's something like, maybe you're just very unhappy right now. Like, again, just don't be dicks to other people. Let people, like, there's a lot of people that don't have connection to their ancestors and their roots. And if they're trying to connect to something that you can't see, it's not your problem to figure out how they figure that out. That said, don't be racist. You know what I mean? Like, don't go out there and start, like, crapping on people's religions and whatever. Like, it just does not end well. Our realities are not the same, and that's okay. Yeah. I think this feels more like your friends, where I think in order to, like, really tap into your passion, there's something about, like, your reality will always be different than these other people. That's something that is not talked about as a spiritual practitioner enough, is that when you go through your spiritual awakening and whatever, there's a lot of people that are gonna crawl out of the woodworks. They're gonna come out and say, you're fucking crazy, you're blah, blah, blah. The reality is that when people see other people doing well at something that they can't, they're gonna try sabotaging you, because they want you to stay in the background. Because, again, they're like, you're a squishy axolotl person, you're not supposed to have money, you're not supposed to use your words, you don't have a brain. That's okay. Okay? You gotta accept it. You can't fight every hater, you can't, like, if someone's reality can't comprehend your existence, that's okay. You gotta let that person go. Because if you're out there, like, if you help 1,000 people out there, like, finally heal the grief that they can't move on from, who gives a fuck if you don't have a science degree? Okay? Who cares if you can't always work every single day? You don't need some special label. You don't need some special community to tell you who and what you can't do. That's okay. The reality is, though, is that if someone else needs healing in a different paradigm than you, and what you have to offer, let them move in that direction. Okay? That's all we're asking here, is everybody has their own different specific types of needs. There's different kind of healers, shamans, belief system practices, whatever. We don't have time right now to waste being like, oh, well, that person looks different than me, or they do a different way of practice, mine's superior than that person's. Don't do that. I'm really big about that stuff here at Mindovermania, where I'm like, listen, let that person have their practice, because clearly what they're doing is working. We care more about the result of, do people feel better? Do people have change in their life? Do these people ignite their passion within them again? If that answers a yes, then keep your mouth shut. Or complain somewhere else. I need to own my shame and what I project onto others. Yeah, I think, like, something too about, like, with the keeping your mouth shut, like, you're listening to people's opinions who don't deal with the consequences of what they're saying. You know what I mean? It's kind of like someone going up to a mentally ill person and telling them, like, just, like, go outside, eat some yogurt, listen to some music, you're gonna feel better. It's like, I've got complex PTSD. You sound like an idiot right now. You know what I mean? Like, people are gonna always tell you things, and they just want to participate, right? Like, this is kind of like a weird social thing that took me a while to realize that sometimes people just talk about stuff because they just want to feel included in the conversation. They want to feel smart. They're trying to show everyone, like, yeah, I'm competent. My autistic ass didn't realize that, oh, I thought they actually believed that, because that's what their family system does. And then I'd be like, oh, I'm not supposed to say you're incompetent. And I'd be like, oh, oops. I need to own my shame and what I project onto others. That's kind of the wound I'm describing here. Is there's so much shame in our society. Shame is not a really great tool to help guide people towards healing and what's okay and what's not okay. Especially, like, when we get into individualism, where it's like, well, it's like, for example, we'll talk about female empowerment and sexuality, right? To some women, it's empowering to not be dressing sexual. To some women, it is empowering to be dressing sexually. Like, whatever shame you're working through about your body and whatnot, you get to claim how you work through that. That said, there are also consequences to different belief systems and how other people react. So, for example, if you come from a more conservative religion, it's not appropriate for someone who has a belief system that is all about like being scantily clad and owning your feminine. You don't like walk up to that person from that other religion and being like, you're oppressed, you're blah 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 because of this and this and this. And vice versa, the traditional person who's saying, oh my gosh, you're a whore, you're a prostitute, you're blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? It's like they're just coming from two different angles. The issue here is trying to project each other's shame on each other for not accepting the other. Y'all can just live your lives and say, hey, I feel more comfortable being covered up. Hey, I feel more comfortable being exposed. Both can be considered feminine. It's just not your business. And like, what does this have to do with your passion, Christian? Because like, this seems like one of your passions to complain about, but how does that tie back to me? The point is how you hear a message is also rooted in that passion. So, for example, if you're feeling like, that type of conflict turns me off, then turn the TV off and figure out what does work for you, right? Maybe your passion can also feel soft. So for some of you guys, like maybe, for example, you don't have the same like angry energy that I do or a lot of this stuff. Sometimes that softness is exactly what your passion is. Maybe you're the type of person that like between like those two women I was talking about earlier that were fighting, you're like, yeah, I think my passion is the peace in between the two. I want both women to feel safe and loved and valued. They're both beautiful and charming. And I want to share that with others. Passion doesn't always have to be rowdy. It can also be smooth and quiet and beautiful. And I'm hearing like water. You know what I mean? I'm feeling like a spa. Maybe you want to own a spa. Finding out the truth crushed me. I hid who I really am from you. You came closer than anyone. Yeah, so there's something about, like, if you want to get more tapped into your passion and get to the root of, like, what's kind of maybe blocking it at this time, there's something about, like, you need to figure out who you actually are. You need to find the root of your projections, I'm feeling. Because at first I was like, oh, it's about femininity and gender roles, and I was like, no. It's something more so about, like, what you're projecting out onto other people as a result of those. Because it's not just about society, guys. It's something about there's, like, a truth that you don't want to get hurt by realizing. And I feel like you're very close to it. Right? Maybe you guys, like, you know, you want to get close to people, but you can't. Because you're afraid that, like, oh no, people are going to think I'm schizophrenic, people are going to think blah, 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 blah. But the reality is you're hiding who you truly are. And that's a shame. Okay? Squishy axolotl person, I just want to say that, you know, I hope you get to shine as bright in your community as you are shining bright right now. Because I can clearly see it, and I can see you. And whatever your gifts are, you're so close to fully being in your power. If you aren't already. You know what I mean? It's just more so your mind hasn't caught up with your soul yet. And you're still hiding. But I think now's your time to come out. I, like, literally with this hand, I'm seeing, like, spirits, like, sticking his hand out and be like, take your chance. You got the sun. See? It's all gonna work out. Again, I think, like, for you guys, like, you know, getting outside, like, you match spirit's energy when you're doing what your passion and belief system is. So when you're out there, like, on stage, hyping people up, maybe you're sitting in a parking lot playing guitar. Like, you don't need 50,000 people. All you need is that squirrel that's sitting over there. Whatever it is you gotta do, you're gonna attract people. And you're gonna see, like, a multitude of people and experiences in life. Again, maybe you're gonna go through a broke situation. Maybe you're gonna go through a wealthy situation. Maybe you're gonna go through a very neutral time. Spirit's with you every step of the way. And I think, like, the more you integrate it into your daily life, into seeing how everything's divinely being woven together with your soul and co-creating with the universe, you're just making something really magical, guys. And it's like, you know, I'm seeing, like, this guy riding a bird, but I'm like, why is he riding a bird when he's an angel? You know what I mean? Release control. Just let yourself fly. You've got this. Your love sends me to the moon and back. That kind of feels like spirit, literally just being like, your passion is in your love for life, your love for beauty, your love for the moon, your love for the things that God created. Again, whatever belief system you have, if you're pagan or whatever, universe, spirit, that's what I'm talking about. Is it's just that love, your love for love. Literally being like, oh my gosh, like, so something that I love to fangirl about, I was talking about it with my sister too, is we were fangirling about one of her patients who was fangirling about this crush that he had. And apparently every single time he comes in to get his treatments, he fangirls about somebody. So, for example, like, I love to fangirl about how other people have crushes on other people. Like, whenever you see someone that you're like, oh, they've been a friend of mine for a while, and then when you see them fall in love with somebody, and then they turn into this different human, and then they start like acting silly, and they have like suddenly you see this whole different side of them, and you're like, wait a second, I didn't know you noticed those things about people. Hold up, hold up, hold up. You do this when you're attracted to somebody? You know what I mean? It's like things like that where like you love the love that other people have. And that's such a blessing and gift that Spirit gave to you and wants you to continue to do. There's something about like maybe you're full of compliments. Again, maybe your passion is telling people to get off their ass. I don't know. I know that's mine. But like people appreciate you for you. And there's something about like all of that energy is going to come back to you. And that's why you got to trust that this is your sign that it's going to work out. All right. When there's a will, there's a way. And you're going to be protected throughout your journey. And you know what? You're not going to know everything. That's the other piece of this too, is like, they're like, well, I need all of the answers to know how this is going to work out. Don't. Do that, you're going to scare yourself shitless, and then you're going to make mistakes, and then it's not going to work. And then your spirit guide team's going to be like, try again. You're not listening to your intuition, which involves trust. Because if you don't trust, then it's not going to work, and then you are going to end up in a mess. So, learning to walk blind a little bit and use your feet to navigate, that's kind of how this works. Especially in a spiritual business. If I could find words to express how I feel, I'd never stop talking. That's why I can't talk at all. Yeah. You gotta talk to your spirit guides, team. I know you like your tarot deck. I know you like talking to your witchy friends. But, like, there's things that you can't talk about with other people. That affects the manifestation. You're like, if I could just find the right words to manifest, no. That's not how the world works. That's not how the universe works. The one thing is, though, Spirit doesn't want you to stop talking. They don't want you to change your belief system. They want you exactly the way that you are and who you need to change into when you need to change into. Your path is your spiritual path. And please don't ever stop expressing how you feel. That is literally your strength, your passion, your joy. And expression is what we need right now. People in the world need to know you exist. So be 110% yourself. Let me buy your art. Let me buy whatever you need to keep you going. Like, Spirit's literally like, you will have what you need. So relax and be yourself. Yeah, be passionate about being yourself, guys. Anyways, thank you guys so much for sticking around for this message. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below if this resonated with you. If you are interested in buying a reading from me, links are in the description down below. Check out my blog. Let me know if you want to contribute or anything, because I'm looking for people willing to write articles about what they're passionate about. And yeah. And reach out too if you're looking to collab or to talk about different spiritual topics, because I love finding other people that are like-minded and looking to build community with. Anyways, y'all, I will see you all next time. Take care. Hello, everyone. What? Hello, everyone. You have chosen group number 3, and these are going to be your messages on what's my passion, or how do I get reconnected to that? What's under the surface? This is a silly pile. Or maybe no, you guys aren't silly, but there was a couple silly things related to this pile. So first of all, I took a little bit of a food break. I got a protein bar, so maybe you guys are working out or you're building up. But specifically, the whole time since the last pile ended, I've had the Spider-Man theme song stuck in my head. So maybe you like Spider-Man, or you got a thing for Marvel. I was just like, Spider-Man, Spider-Man. And like I'm literally seeing you guys number 3. I was thinking about like K and D from Cartoon Network back in the day. Literally you've got like this, I'm on a super secret mission. Like the way that you motivate yourself is you like pretend you're a superhero or something. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Yeah, Like I'm seeing like Chris Pratt, dancing with Guardians of the Galaxy, where I'm like, yeah, I'm a normal everyday dude, but I'm Chris Pratt, and the powers of Chris Pratt are helping me succeed. Like, I don't know, you guys have like never-ending energy, and that's so fun. And I feel like you inspire a lot of other people, or you're working towards something that's very inspiring and passion-oriented, but maybe you have a hard time sustaining at times. Because you gotta, like, you forget to eat. Cough, cough. Make sure you eat, people. And no, just a protein bar is not enough. Okay? You gotta, like, get your gains on, Maybe you got abs. We've got apology and forgiveness for your card. Hey! It says, if you're waiting for an apology, you probably won't get one. Oh no! So stop wasting your time and energy on shit you can't change about other people, and forgive yourself for tolerating that crap in the first place. Be nice to you, be respectful of others and their weirdness, and watch the energy brighten up around you as you give far less fucks. Okay, that's like what the book says. That's not me, but that sounds like something I'd say. That's also super funny, because, like, again, I don't look at these cards before I set them out. My spirit guide team was like, okay, you gotta, like, select one of these cards for a vibe check, because that's what I've been doing for some of my other card readings. And I was like, why are you gonna need a vibe check when the vibe check is with this card? After reading this message, I'm like, oh, this is probably something this pile hears about a lot, or they're just like, and wow, that deflated my Spider-Man dreams. So we're gonna go ahead and look at these cards to see what else Spirit has to say about, like, figuring out your passion. We've got Unmarked Trail, Revelation, 57. And Fool's Embrace, Transmuting Pain, 22. Let's do the 22 one, Fool's Embrace. I'm so sorry, pile number 3. This is what you get for coming here. You come here to get sassed, and it's all with love and pain. The pain of life is sometimes unbearable. When we're in it, we think that pain, that loss, that betrayal will always be woven through our continuity of existence. I can read. We're kept hostage by the way we identify with the pain and what we make it mean. If we let it, it becomes etched into us like a tattoo. Totally not having a new tattoo here. No matter where on the spectrum of pain you find yourself now, whether it be mild disappointment or searing loss, it's time to make peace with it. Befriend it rather than resisting it, running from it, or judging it as bad or unfair or hostile. Can you see the gift that is here? Surrender to the Fool's Embrace, allowing the truth to envelop you in love and compassion. Love and compassion. What if you could learn something amazing from this? What is truly yours will not pass you by. Something better and perfect for you is waiting elsewhere. If you could come to terms with the liberation and freedom inherent in loss, your broken heart might open you up to a greater sense of humanity and compassion. As in the narrative of tarot, the Fool will be at the beginning of your life's adventure, and at the end when you've integrated all the wisdom you've accumulated along the way. He will never let you down or lie to you. He will, however, teach you how to revel in both the beauty and desperation of life. Both and, this and that, will always be true. Remember, the pearl can't be created without the gritty sand causing discomfort and acting as a catalyst in the oyster. Your pearl is discovering in radical acceptance that everything has value. All is well now and will be well. Remember that today you feel the Fool's Embrace. So there's a lot of different things that go on with this energy. You guys, maybe this is a more masculine leaning energy, but I don't want to say gender specific because, like, this is a frequency that I work with a lot that most people don't really get. So you guys are going into spirituality hard mode, where this is the oxymoron, where it's the yes and no. It's the black and the white, and the nothing. This is like that energy that's trickster energy that triggers the fuck out of everybody, but it's not a trickster energy. This is a level of misunderstanding and understanding that most people don't get. While I was reading the message, I was also disassociating for some reason, and I was just like, okay, so maybe you guys, like, when it comes to spiritual advancement or atonement, you guys are kind of like, I gotta stay a superhero, because otherwise I get into this wonky, weird spiritual headspace and everything turns crystallizing. Maybe, like, when you close your eyes, you see colors and whatnot. Like, maybe there's, what is it? Color synesthesia. I have that. Where, like, you can read letters and you remember them in color patterns. Or, like, for example, like, when I listen to certain kinds of music, I see colors and frequencies. Like, there's just something about you that, like, part of your passion is tied to your mental illness. Or whatever it is going on in your head that's different. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about, like, maybe you guys are nightlife people, because I'm seeing with, like, the moon being yellow, maybe you're very affected by full moons, or you're into astrology. There's something very colorful and vibrant about you, but you're definitely misunderstood by a lot of people. And you've got some spikies around you. I feel like you've put this crown of thorns on your head simply to protect yourself and to protect your energy. And, yeah, there's something about you believe you're shattered and you're jaggedy when I'm sitting there being like, well, you kind of look like this person instead, as a different perspective where it's like this mosaic of, like, yeah, I know that probably touching this person with all the glass and all that would probably hurt, but, like, it would soften with the right touch. And I think that's how you have to approach your inner passions and wisdoms. I definitely relate to this energy. So say, for example, you're an artist, a musician, a creative type person, and maybe your job or passion is related to that and creativity. And, like, oh god, I'm feeling like knots in my stomach. It's like literally anytime you try to connect to that creativity right now, it's just and you're like, you can't act, you can't sing, you can't dance, you can't do whatever because it's finicky. And you almost have to treat your creativity like it's its own person, right? It has its own needs and belief systems. And if it's dried up, it's dried up. But I have a feeling you guys, it's not dried up. It's just wounded. Maybe you hurt it. Maybe you sacrificed your creativity for money, the power, the fame, or maybe you just don't have fun anymore. Like, being creative stopped being fun. I'm seeing, like, my eyes are getting drawn to my little axolotl buddy. He's like my little mascot today. And there's something about this energy where it's like, yeah, like, this is your creativity, and then you want to take it and beat it against the wall. Because you're like, because you're just frustrated with everything, and then you're like, how is this version of me still optimistic when I don't want to do any of the shit anymore? You know what I mean? Like, there's like a jadedness, an anger, a disappointment. Let's look at the unmarked trail. 57. Maybe 38 is something significant to you. Maybe you're 38. Or maybe something happened when you were 38. Maybe something happened. We have an unprecedented experience, discovery, and revelation. Oh, that's weird. Synchronicity. You are called now to embark on a quest, on a sacred journey. The Arthurian knights, in their quest for the Holy Grail, had to make sure to take an unmarked trail that no one had ever followed, or they would not accomplish their goal. Likewise, you must enter the dark forest of your soul via a route as yet unidentified to find what you seek. The manicured paths will bring you only temporary pleasure and later great pain. Stop it! You already know there is no reward at the end of the road you are following. You are only killing time. Pause, breathe, and commit in your heart to a sacred endeavor. Vow to not look for old situations that may have worked in past challenges. Get out of character, try the outrageous, and keep your quest private. Now is not the time to speak of the voice that called to you to embark on the unmarked trail. That time will come. The unmarked trail can be a sign that you have already made a choice, even if you do not want to acknowledge it. Be at peace with what your heart knows to be true. Your heart has already been made up, and your mind will follow. Pack lightly, Take with you only essential beliefs that you know to be trustworthy under all circumstances. The universe has your back. I'm being told to mention my book. Okay, so here's an example about kind of like the quest analogy. Because I went on it, I did it, and you guys kind of have your own version of this, or maybe you're still in your quest, but you're kind of like pausing and taking a break, or again, you're like, why am I not passionate anymore about my quest? So specifically, what happened to me around the time when my spiritual awakening happened, like, not the big one that happened in 2020, but the one that started when I went to a rock concert. So I had this spiritual awakening at this concert, felt like someone just shot my chest, and I was like, oh my god, I need to, like, whatever, I gotta follow this rock band or whatever, and oh my gosh. So then what happened was I got back to my hotel, and like every day for like 6 months, I was feeling this pulling in my chest that was like the most annoying thing ever. Again, I was not into tarot, I was not a spiritual person, I was just kind of like going through the motions, healing my PTSD, doing my thing, and I was like, you need to go back, you need to go back, and it was like so desperate, it felt like I was gonna die. But like, not die, but it was like, that's where my future is, that's my path. My stubborn ass was so upset and angry about it. Like, I talked to my therapist friend, they tried explaining the psychology behind it, I was like, that's not it. Like, I was like, this is something else. Like, this is not a psychology thing. This is a spiritual, like, I feel like there's an actual chain in my chest that is yanking me forward. So finally, I said, well, there is no way in hell I'm gonna follow around a rock band. No, I'm not a groupie, I'm not whatever. I'm gonna write a book. And so, because at the time, I was writing one of my novels, because I've never fully completed one of my novels and published them. It was just like, I write so much of these books, and then nothing gets to completion. So I was working with a friend, and I was like, all right, you know what I need? I need like a project, okay? A quick, easy project, just to practice the pattern of writing a book, completing it, and then publishing it. So I need to write about a topic I don't care about. So what happened was I decided to write about a rock band, and I was like, all right, you know what it's going to be about? It's going to be about a rock star who, like, it's a rock band that wants to change the world, and then eventually it became to be like, okay, it was a metaphor for my journey about advocating for men's suicide awareness. And basically what happened was this band, their lead singer kills himself, and so the drummer is like really passionate about suicide awareness and not letting it happen to anybody else. So he's like, hey, I've got this hidden singing talent, and then he becomes the front man for their band, because he's like, our lead singer and best friend, he wouldn't want our band to be over because he died, so we gotta do this. And so it's his journey of not managing his grief, about trying to save the world from suicide and make this change, but like, he makes a mishap along the way. I'm not gonna spoil it. Well, what happened was I wrote this book, and then I realized, wow, I actually don't know a lot about the music industry. And while the novel idea was great, I did not actually connect with people because I wasn't involved with it. I wasn't going to concerts all the time. I didn't know what it would be like to be as a rock star. So I said, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go do all these things. So I took singing lessons to actually experience in my body what it would be like to sing professionally. Obviously, I don't do it professionally, but that was part of it. I went and I actually followed my favorite rock band around. So that was kind of cool. Getting to follow them around for a bit, and I made friends with people. I interviewed frontmen, other musicians, about their journeys as musicians, and lo and behold, I ended up moving to Austin, and then I started like managing musicians, and then I started like I booked people for shows, and like it's just kind of like crazy how I went from, oh yeah, this book was supposed to be a quick project, and it ended up becoming so much more involved and exposed to me who I am. Because like, I gave up on music because I thought it was just like, oh, it just makes me feel good. I use it to support my writing. When I was like, I missed playing drums. I love being around musicians. I've dated a couple since. It's one of those things where I didn't know that that's what my spirit guide team was leading me towards, and making me realize that, wow, I am a rock star on the inside, you know? And it's not about being famous or anything like that. It's about having that passion, drive, and energy to say, this is who I am. and I'm gonna sing it from the rooftops. I'm gonna be exactly who I want to be. And I got to basically be like, I've always been an entrepreneur on the inside, but I was scared to go on the unmarked trail. And so Spirit had to literally do some crazy ass things to get me there, but they did it. And that's kind of, and the reason why I just shared this story with you is because this is what you're going through, or what you're getting back to, is reminding yourself of your purpose. Because for me, the whole thing was like, when I went down my pathway, I lost track of the book because I was afraid of it. I learned a lot of things and I got scared. And it's hard to write about stuff because I now realize this book is going to have so much meaning to so many different people because of the topic that it's going to be about. But I deserve for myself to write it the way it needs to be said. And the heart of the matter is what the art piece is about. And it's a story that I want to share with you guys once it's completed and ready for publishing, because it's more than just about me. It's spiritual, and it's a gift to all the people that are in that industry, have experienced these things, the families that support them, all of it. And it's also a passion gift to myself. But I forgot about the fact that it was a gift to myself. And about my belief systems. And what I lost along the way as a result of trying to chase, like, I have to finish the book, I have to finish the book. I used to beat myself up about it and all these other things when I realized, like, I didn't even know I was trying to live the fantasy that my character was. And now that I've come through to the other side, I know what the novel was meant for. It was like I was writing the book, but I needed to use the book as an excuse to just be me. And that's what the protagonist had to learn, was that it's like he was so focused on getting famous and changing the world that he forgot why he was doing what he was doing in the first place. And maybe that's what you guys have found, is that, like, again, it's hard to be passionate and be yourself when you're struggling to survive. It's hard when you don't have the money or the time. Maybe someone broke up with you. That was important to you because you chose your mission and your passion over that. And so this is where, with the apology and forgiveness, maybe you're waiting to see what's next. Because you're like, I can't give up my passion and my dream and your goals when Spirit's asking you to question what's on the unmarked trail for you now. Because the protagonist in my book, spoiler alert, he ruins his relationship. He was gonna get married to somebody that ended up not being for him in the end, but he also pushed that person away. And so then he goes on this whole journey because he wants to win this girl back when the girl wasn't the problem in the first place. Not the first girlfriend, the second girlfriend. And he wants to win her back, but she's like, I don't want to end up like the girl that you left behind at the altar. I mean, that's not what happens, but, you guys aren't getting the spoiler. The point is that the other girl already knows the value that this relationship has, and it's beyond this person's control. And I think that's where you're still having trouble on your journey, is you can control all these other things, like with the creativity and all these other stuff. And that's where you lost the joy of being the fool for a little bit. Because now there's all this pressure, all this expectation, like all these people, they expect a level of quality from you, and it's not there anymore. And you want this apology, or you want to give this apology to this person or these people to be like, I'm not enough, I'm just a person. And you're like, I'm such a pussy because I can't sustain like everybody. Who the fuck cares about everybody else? Okay? And you're like, well, it's easy for you to say you're not a blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no. Who the fuck cares? What's the answer? You care. But if you went to a crowd of people and said, hey, I gotta take some time for me to get back right on track, no one's gonna be mad at you, especially if they already know what happened to you. Do something that you haven't done before. That's what Spirit's telling you to do. is, okay, you already learned that, okay, I can do this and this and this, but now it's not serving me anymore. I'm a changed person. Maybe you don't have that vibe anymore where you're like, yeah, I'm hungry for this or whatever. What are you hungry for now? And you're like, where's my passion? It wasn't ever lost. You got lost. Your passion's always there. It's just that in order to find it on the trail, you got to go down a different one because you've already explored this one to death. All right, let's get into the. Oh man, guys, sorry. I'm like, I know what this energy is. Okay, anyways, we've got this mom with like all the different arms. I'm thinking of like Callie with her different arms. Yeah, so it's like I'm seeing you talking on the phone a lot with people. I just feel like, are you like making calls all the time? Like, yeah, I'm just seeing you guys like part of what's blocking your connection to your passion is because this like fun became work. Okay? You're like juggling so many hats. You're like, I gotta make this phone call with this person. I gotta do this and this and this. You're neglecting, like, maybe you're neglecting your kids. Some of you. I'm seeing with your feet, like, you're literally at the point where, like, I wish I just had another limb to do everything because you're doing everything yourself. I don't know, with, like, the kid there, I'm sitting there feeling this vibe of this kid that, like, you could have your kid help you with the chores they want to help mom, right? But you're not delegating things. You're not, like, giving space for yourself to rest. And that's why this version of you is literally like, nope, I don't trust you. You don't take care of me. With this guy who's like drinking or whatever, I feel like there's like this drinking partying, but he's like watching you. So like this energy feels like you're like trying to look like a cool guy or you're trying to look like a cool girl and you're in this crowded party and you're like, yeah, I want to look and act this way so I can look tough or this is what other people expect of me. But you're like hurting yourself to fit in. Like I'm looking at all these bottles and you're just drinking things away. You don't even know why you're doing it. And everyone else is passed out and like, but like with the eyes, it's almost like you could quit drinking whenever you wanted to. You're just doing it because it's a habit at this point, or maybe you have an alcohol addiction. But like, I'm looking at the other people in the party, and like, no one's noticing that. No one cares if you're smoking and drinking. They're doing it for their own reasons. But you trying to look cool when it's not your authenticity. Yeah, I'm almost seeing like for some reason I'm focused on this guy's junk for a second, like because there's like a little marijuana leaf on his belt, but it's like it just feels like there's something about him that's really like you've lost touch of your sexuality, what turns you on, because you're so focused on trying to attract a crowd that is what your industry calls for or like what you're trying to do. Like I can definitely see like for example maybe you're a writer or you're part of like liberal arts or something like that. Like maybe people are hosting parties and have belief systems that you're so used to like, well, I gotta like talk to this person and put on this show and mask that, yeah, I agree with you and whatever and da da da. Like this just feels so boring. Like this kind of sucks because it's like I feel like you're going to party after party and you're like, all these people are the same. They just want to get drunk and not care. But nobody thinks. And even if you're around spiritual people, there's a lot of spiritual narcissism, or like there's just something about like you just keep looking. I'm feeling like I'm being watched. It's like you're literally just being like, is this person, does the person I want care? Like I feel like you're like holding on to something that isn't serving you anymore. You know what I mean? Like there's something about maybe it's like you're too spiritual for this shit anymore. You're like, I grew up. I don't care. Maybe you want to be a parent. Maybe you want to be an adult, more of an adult now. You're like, I can't fit in with people that are childish anymore. Ooh. Okay, so next card, we've got this pig with the burgers or whatever. Maybe some of you guys think you're fat. Do you have like an eating disorder or something? Or like you're a pig for doing unhealthy things? Maybe you guys took the self-care thing too far now. And you just shame yourself whenever you're anything other than. You know what I mean? Like I'm seeing like what happened to being like I'm gonna wake up at like 6 a.m. to go watch the sunrise with my parents. Whatever happened to like spontaneously getting McDonald's with your friends because you're all gonna go smoke or whatever and drink and things. Like there's something about like there's this just imbalance between being around people who self-harm because they can't handle life anymore or their choices, and the people that are just doing it because, like, this is how I cope. Yeah, there's just kind of this apology you gotta have with yourself because your situation turned out differently than what you expected. You thought, like, yeah, all the glitter and gold, like all the success I had for my business. When you're the squishy axolotl, just like in pile number 2, where they're like, "Hi, remember me? I'm still you. I'm still that weird little kid. But now I feel ugly because you don't like me anymore because I'm not cool. I'm not special or gifted or talented anymore. I don't want to have money and power if it means I gotta be around these people." You know? And like that little axolotl was like, "Why are you calling me a pussy? Is that what you really believe?" And it just makes this version of you like clam up. You got this boy on this hamster wheel, all the anxiety and thoughts. It's like you're ruminating and ruminating. You're just like, you're pushing and pushing and pushing to get better and to solve everything. Maybe you guys are focused on a heartbreak. Yeah, I'm just seeing like there's just like a lot of pain in your heart right now. And you just want to like launch yourself off into space and not care about what's going on around you. Maybe you don't have time or energy for the people around you, and maybe you're ashamed, right? For some reason, I just feel like I gotta like burn this energy away. Burn the energy away because we're about passion here. Right? Yeah. Yeah, you need like a home again, a home base. You gotta clear a lot of this stuff out. And you're like, I don't know how, because it's who I am. And it's like, it's not who you are. That's this energy. That's this pig energy. Quit treating yourself like you're a pig, okay? You started off as this little baby squishy axolotl person. This squishy baby axolotl is still inside you and is still your companion. And listen, maybe you're an adult axolotl and you're not as cute anymore, but you're still family. You're still, like, you can still find happiness after all the tragedy, after all the money. We still like you, pile number 3. I don't know. There's something about, like, you gotta, like, just start being sensitive again and stop taking things so seriously. Yeah, we've got the 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, that's definitely telling me, like, financial hardship. So, like, you're so afraid of, like, branching out and doing something that other people don't like. You're always gonna do things people don't like. And sometimes it's gonna hurt you financially. People are gonna get frustrated with you. Maybe people left you because, again, you chose money and success over your values, and the people that you care about. Because you were trying to protect yourself. But your ego, like, there's something about, like, I'm looking at the deer, but it's blind. And there's just kind of something about, like, you're trying to... Maybe you're not aware that you're blind, or you are aware, you're just, like, your heart is just feeling so misguided at this time. And you're just like, I just gotta protect my family. I gotta protect the people that are close to me. This is just what life is like. Your Spirit Guide team's like, no! That's why you gotta change. You gotta go off the beaten trail again. It's not like you don't have passion. I mean, like, fuck. Here. Have some flame. Have some flame. Okay? Page of Swords. Look at this guy. He kind of looks a little twinky. Yeah. You know what I mean? Go get your inner freak on. Go hang with the gays for a little bit. Oh my god. Okay, this is so funny. So, like, I'm looking at these hummingbirds, and I'm immediately thinking of all of those, like, tropical birds where the men, or the male birds, do these exotic dances for the female, and they're just like, do, 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 do. And, like, I don't know, maybe you gotta, like, shake things up a little bit. You know, just really put yourself out there and not care. But in a different kind of not caring. Not like the, I'm trying to prove to other people that I'm a guy. Literally be like, appreciate the softness. You know, like, I'm seeing, like, it's a skill. Like, for example, I'm seeing this guy admiring this rose. Like, buy yourself some roses and admire them for a little bit. When was the last time you decorated your apartment or your house? When was the last time you decorated yourself? Maybe you gotta spend some time in a closet doing your makeup, making yourself look pretty. Make yourself look exactly how you want to be. I know there was a certain point in time where I was like, so like I'm really big about like, I don't want to say body painting, but like literally like usually as part of my spiritual practice, I'll like just paint things or do symbols or whatever, and then I'd look in the mirror and then I'd be like, okay, that looks weird, or this doesn't look right, or whatever. There's something about like maybe makeup, maybe there's some shame around like, oh, I only have to look a certain way. Who cares? Okay? Get some lotion on your face. Learn to be softer and find strength in that softness. Like that's one thing too, like especially if you guys are American, like I don't think y'all understand that men in other countries, like they actually have basic hygiene and that's like a standard versus over here they're like, oh, they're gay, and it's like, no. Like that's weird. Like why do you guys act like children and not take care of yourselves? Yeah, there's something about like you just need more color and zest in your life. Maybe you just gotta hang out with other people for a little bit and figure out what you like again. Yeah, I'm seeing like with the lipstick. Be like, get yourself a new lipstick color, bae. We've got the Chariot in reverse. Okay, yeah, because there's something about like because you're resisting losing control, you're losing control. And it's like now I'm seeing like the Chariot was like, yeah, I was so successful before, but now I can't get a hold of these horses. They're like running around and they're chaotic and like I can't control the ocean wave and it's all crashing down on me. And we've got like the black and white. It's like duality and blah 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 blah. And it's just like, guys, and you're like, I'm facing my shadows. Like, these aren't your shadows. Maybe your shadows look like you. They look like a different version of you that doesn't make money. But it's tied to your inner child, guys. Slow down. And I think your passion's going to come out slowly because I think it has to change to alter the new version of yourself. Because there's something about like valuing, like for example, like picking the flower. Maybe you start gardening for a little bit just to get back in touch with nature and being like, wow, I grew that flower, or I grew those plants. I made homemade tomatoes. I grew tomatoes. Wow, homemade tomatoes. But like I grew tomatoes. And now I'm using them in my cooking. Start small. But like you made that. You helped facilitate it. Earth made it, but like, there's just like a lot of things that I think you just got to get over. Like, again, I said like, oh yeah, that guy kind of looks like a twink, and it'll be like, okay, maybe if that's what he is, then that's what he is. But if he's not, like, who cares? If that's what someone thinks about it. Like, there's something like you just got to get over the judgment where it's like, actually, I think you'd be a lot happier with people that are softer and like you and are more like the axolotl. Because the axolotl people are like, yay! Pile number 3 is back! We've got the death card in reverse. Yeah, you're resisting an ego death. You're like, I already went through ego death. There's many. There's many in a lifetime. Take the crown off. Become a commoner once more. You're being called. I'm also seeing like with the gills that she has. It's like learning to breathe underwater. There's something about like slits in your throat where maybe just talk a little less. Rest your voice. Don't be so harsh. Just focus on your breathing a little bit. There's kind of something about like learning to just be quiet. Let your rage kind of like soothe like the ocean. You know what I mean? And then these horses are going to slowly start getting back that way. And then this is going to start coming back. Yeah, I don't know. Are you guys experiencing like work burnout? Which I totally get. I had to be unemployed for almost over 6 months because of work burnout. But there's something about like when the darkness has a place to exist, that's when the light can come out. And then that's where he's like, yay, it's all warm. Maybe visit a tropical place. A new place. Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, there's something about you're gonna have a breakthrough. And it's also gonna, like, your wealth is gonna be restored. There's something about the death, though, like, you're gonna reclaim the death of yourself. So it's interesting because, like, this doe here that's walking blind, that version of you is gonna die. And then from the death of that, you're gonna be holding the skull, and then comes the money. And the fame, and the success, and wee! Yeah, with the deer, though, I was thinking of, there's a card in the deck in one of the previous piles where it was, like, has all these vultures eating this fox. And it's like, yeah, like, this is before the fox dies, and then the vultures have to eat and clean it up. You know what I mean? Your spirit guide team is like, hey, like, to access your passion again, you're gonna have to give something up. You know? And what I'm hearing and feeling, don't give your family up. Because, like, you can't protect your kids, you can't protect your lifestyle if you're blind. Right? And I know there's, like, I said in another pile, it's like, yeah, like, you're blind and you're following your intuition or whatever, but, like, this pile, you guys are really not, you guys are more based in Earth. You don't have the same divine connection to intuition like the other piles do. You do, because you're obviously here, but, like, there's something about, like, that's gonna be part of your death cycle and sequence as well. Is you're no longer gonna be, like, focusing on, like, I'm a fucking pig energy. Like, what? I'm sorry, that just makes me so angry. But it also doesn't, because I see where the benefit in your journey came from that. But, like, even if you were a pig, what if I still like you? Because pigs are kind of cute. We've got, I am willing to change to make my experience better. That's it. But the change isn't through gains. It's not through acquiring more money and assets. This is about, like, going inside. I do not fear changes I cannot control. It's gonna make you better. I don't need to hurt others to face my insecurities. Good intentions don't mean they're justifiable. Their actions still hurt. What have y'all been up to? Someone's been a little cutthroat. Maybe you cut the voice out of somebody else, and so now they can't talk. Or they can't talk to you. Because it's kind of like, yeah, those claws are a little sharp, and I don't want to get bit when you're talking to me that way, you know? I won't accept my own self-hate. Yeah, there's something about, like, with being better, I think you gotta change being better to, instead of, like, that, I'm hearing, like, narcissistic, but I was like, it's really not narcissistic. Like, there's a huge difference between, like, yeah, I'm, like, working out because I want to, you know, have a stronger body or whatever, but you're saying better when, like, right now, I think, like, better feels more like healing, like, after you've been sick. Because I think your heart space and your head has been sick for a while. And I think when you see healing your heart as more of, like, recovering from an illness, I think you're going to feel a whole lot better. Because I feel like you've been drinking poison for a while in your spirit, and you couldn't control it. Similar to the character in my book, where he was like, yeah, I'm going to be the one guy in the music industry that's not going to be like all the other guys. I'm going to treat women with respect. I'm going to go change everything. I'm going to be the best. And then he becomes exactly like what he hated. And he had to overcome his own self-hate of realizing he's a human. He's an imperfect man that went through some trauma and tragedy, and that anybody, no matter how tough you are, anybody can fall apart with just the right circumstances. And sometimes pieces of you won't come back. I'm saying this as someone with PTSD. Pieces of you won't come back. And maybe you guys learn that the hard way. Maybe certain people won't come back. There's death all around us, hun. And no matter what you say or feel, God's always got the final say and has the last laugh in your case. But it's like, to me, it's like, no one's out here trying to punish you the way that you're punishing yourself. So let go of the self-hate. And again, with that whole pig analogy, it's like, okay, well, if today you're feeling like a pig, you're a very cute pig. I regret lying to you. I feel you leaving me behind. I know that I crossed the line with you. Yeah, there's some kind of like a rejection and like lying to somebody when it comes to like this passion. Like it's tied again to your chest. It just feels like you can't have passion or life for things anymore, either without this person around because of this death. There's something about like you're leaving yourself behind to figure it out when it's like, listen, you're still living in your body. You know, maybe that's something. So similar back to the book. Okay, I'm being told to talk about that. What Matt, he's the protagonist, what mistake he made was when his friend passed away, he did not bring the piece of him that was hurting with him on his journey and on his spiritual path. Because he went and became famous, he did all the right things that everyone told him. But he didn't grieve his past. He didn't bring himself with it. Because that piece of him, he wanted to control. He didn't want to show that I'm aching inside. I actually don't want to date this person or marry them. I don't want to go through the pain of rejection again and feel uncertain in my relationships. I don't want to feel like I'm not number one or not in charge. So I'm going to tell that band member, hey, I'm in charge, even if you're right. So you crossed lines. And you're very sorry about it, but you don't even know where to begin to apologize. I regret lying to everybody that by saying that I was okay when I wasn't. Those are all the things that Matt has to face to get to the end, where, in his case, it does work out, but in real life, that doesn't always happen. But in the case of a story, though, the tragedy was he didn't bring himself along with him, all of him. He brought parts of him, but he didn't bring this. And that's why he stopped creating things. He started stealing ideas because he couldn't keep up with the workload. He was projecting onto his friends and family. And he sacrificed and lost a lot more than he gained. And all he ended up with was a corpse of who he is. And the great part about this, though, is you get to choose when you want to come back. Because somebody has got a special little axolotl that's waiting for them. This is gonna be you again, pal number 3. Because we're here to support you. Wow. This is so cute. Aw, somebody likes you. We've got the 8 of Swords in reverse. Yeah, we've got like this hummingbird flying over this tormented swan. Oh my god. Okay, y'all, take a look at this card. Jesus. Yeah, it's like you're like this tormented swan that's like raging, and then there's this tiny little axolotl hummingbird friend who's just like, hey, I know I'm small, but I can find someone who can help you. And you're like, please, for the love of God, get me out of here. When it's like, you're keeping yourselves trapped in your own mess. And this, like, normally this card's about, like, mental prison, keeping yourself trapped. But in this case, I'm feeling like you're not breaking free of what you know you gotta get rid of. You know what I mean? It's like dropping the alcohol, stop working out to the point where you're passing out and throwing up and shit. Like, I feel like also, too, maybe you've got, like, an angry parent or somebody that's just watching you. Like, there's just this, like, energy of somebody always overhead that is, like, there to tear you down or tell you not that you're not good enough. Find the hummingbird. Find the little baby axolotl guy in your life. Find that voice inside of you again and say, hey, actually, like, I'm gonna live my life kind of like a 90s movie and realize that, oh, that's right. I do have an option to change. I am the protagonist of my own story, and I don't have to give a fuck about this dude who's doing mind control over me or is mad at their own past self, and so they're projecting onto me because I'm their kid or whatever the fuck. Basically, follow the light. Follow the light that's calling your name. That's in the lyrics of one of my songs. Follow the light that's calling your name. Yeah, we've got the Queen of Cups. Yeah, embrace your inner white bitch. Listen, you don't have to be a white girl to embrace your inner white bitch. Okay. Yes. Flick your hair and just don't care. Be feeling and passionate in the way that you feel about life. Like, look at the light around this lady. She's just like embodying it. She's dancing. She's graceful. She's barefoot and she's fierce. She also has things in her hair. I'm seeing like fairy wings and whatever, but like, I don't. I'm a big proponent of flowers in the hair. Just saying. But we got like a turtle here. Just understand it's going to take some time, and it's going to be a little slow. Because as I learned from PTSD burnout, or sorry, not PTSD, clinical burnout, it took me 6 months to almost a year to get back to the point where I could even work. Since the pandemic's now been 5 years since I've been able to fully recover. Which for you guys, I don't think it's gonna be 5 years, but understand it's gonna take like time. And it's gonna have to take like serious, like, releasing. Not like, okay, I'm gonna do this juice cleanse and it's done. No. I'm gonna take this med and it's gonna be done. No. Actually rest. Actually unleash your inner oxalotl. Stop hanging out with toxic douchebags. I'm sorry, like, when in the hell did it turn out to be cool to just treat yourself like shit? I don't know why that's always considered like cool or like they're a badass or whatever. I'm like, okay, wow, you don't take care of yourself. That's really hot. Ooh, yeah. Look at all the health insurance costs you're gonna cost me later on in life. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm sorry. Look at all the medical bills that you do because you don't take care of yourself. Yeah. We. You guys need to get your sense of humor back. You're too serious, okay? Aw, and then you got the Five of Pentacles. Look at this person who's crying. You got Five of Pentacles twice. You guys are so afraid of going back into poverty or, like, losing your heart again. But it's like you're swallowing up all your wealth and abundance. Yeah. There's a butterfly. Once again, you've got a guide. You've got your cute little spirit guide that's always there, even when you're sad. Okay? Yeah. Oh, you guys are just like crying so much, and I just want to say I'm here for you. And yeah, join my community. You know what I mean? Like, we've got a bunch of like witchy, spiritual, creative people that like we don't need to do anything. You just gotta show up and hang out. Okay? Like, for real, like, go find your real friends. You know? And you're like, I don't have real friends anymore. And be like, you can do it. Get yourself a cat. I don't know, I saw like the little iguana lizard. Get yourself a pet snake. I lost mine. I had one, but he ran away. Story time later. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you're swallowing your own abundance because you're subconsciously trying to clear away the thing that brought you all this trauma that was supposed to be healing for you. And I think, again, you just need to create a heart space that's safe for you. It's like, I'm also seeing like safe money. So for example, like, say you grew up with poverty and then you get a bunch of money and you don't know how to manage it and then you spend it all. That's kind of this vibe where it's like you've been traumatized for so long by people withholding resources from you that you spoiled it all. When it's like, I don't think you understand that's like twice the abuse that you should be handling. Yeah, look at all these people. They're like wrapped up in a ball. I don't know. I think like also too, pile number 3. Jesus, we're still in pile number 3. With transmuting pain, I really do believe that you need to start showing up for yourself and letting other people help heal you. Okay? Like, you can't do this all by yourself. You gotta let somebody in to let you cry it out. Okay? For some reason, there's like a sparkly butt. I don't know. That's so weird. Like, I don't know. I'm like looking at this fairy and I noticed like the sparkles on the butt, and I was like, what possible spiritual message could a sparkly ass do? And yeah, I don't know. Find your sparkle, and you're gonna find your community. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm ending the reading here. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. I appreciate the support on my YouTube channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share all that good stuff. Comment down below if this resonated with you. And yeah, check out my blog. Book me on my website. Yeah. I will see you all next time. Take care. Anyways, it's weird. Hello, everyone. You have chosen pile number 4, and these are going to be your messages on how do I connect to my passion? What is laying under the surface beneath my passion? What is my passion? We're going to go ahead and see what first card you got here. I bloody love you. Tell yourself. Alright, let's see what the cards mean by saying that. It says, self-love is not just about touching yourself until it feels good. Oh wait, that's masturbation. Never mind. You are allowed to love you, all your quirks, all your weirdness and imperfections. Take a look back at your life and give yourself a moment to appreciate the shit out of yourself. You are fucking awesome and deserve to be loved, especially by you. Aww. Yeah, I feel like you guys have a hard time focusing. Maybe you got ADHD. There's just kind of something about, like, I feel like you reject yourself. There is a darker energy to this pile. I felt that when I first was selecting the cards. I was like, oh, this is gonna be my... I was like, my family? What? There's just something about this pile that's definitely, like, y'all are sitting in a very dark place, and it's kind of like the, I bloody love you. I'm like, hi! And then you're like, blood. I'm out for blood. Okay, interesting. Yeah, maybe you should not consider, human sacrifice and violence as a passion. That's not the root of what's going on here, but let's go ahead and read the rest of your cards. It says, please forgive yourself. Sometimes I didn't know what to do. I am sorry I didn't believe you. I wasn't thinking. Yeah, so there's something about you guys. This is so strange. Again, I feel like this darker energy for y'all, so you're trying to, like, copy me. You're trying to figure out how my intuition works. And it just isn't gonna work. So I'm gonna continue with this message as best I can. With the sometimes I didn't know what to do, I feel like for you guys, you don't know how to connect to life itself. Yeah, and so, like, right now you're just emulating autopilot because you're like, okay, I need to get ahead, I'm stronger and faster than other people, I'm smart, and I'm an antagonist in a lot of people's lives. I don't think you always fully know how to connect to your feelings. It was strange because I saw, like, my eyes were drawn to my statue over here of a woman, and her eyes were, like, gauged out, or, like, gouged out. With forgive, I feel like you have a hard time forgiving people for the past just because simply you're like, this is what nature does. When I'm like, not your kind of nature. So, again, maybe you guys are a little more sociopathic. Maybe you don't understand empathy fully. With the I am sorry, I don't think you know what that means. So when it comes to connecting to your passion, you don't know what passion is the way other people talk about it, which is kind of interesting. With the I wasn't thinking, I'm focusing on the wasn't. There's something about, like, you never were able to connect to people in a certain kind of way, so that's why you always were attracted to darker things, because you were hiding the fact that nobody explained to you what is this emotion, this thing that other people are trying to connect to. With the number 10, I don't know if you're for life path number 10, or there's something about, like, 10 out of 10, you have to be 110% perfection all the time, or else, like, your brain, like, stabs you. So I definitely feel like there's, like, a strong rejection sensitivity wound here. And like my eyes are getting drawn to the Sonic the Hedgehog where I can hear him being like, "Whoa, chill out, man." You know, like I think sometimes you guys need like an external person to kind of remind this version of you that you're like, "Hey, you don't need to act like that. That's not cool, actually. You're not fighting for the cause, man. You need to chill out and don't do that." And again, this piece of you does not seem to like being controlled. With like the tell yourself, I think there's just something about like you don't know how to talk to this version of you because I don't know. Being completely honest, I don't know if this is like all of you, if you just genuinely can't connect to it, or this is just a piece of you. With the I wasn't thinking, there's something about like you don't want to think because it's a lot easier to act from this primal energy, right? Because you're like, okay, well, I'm successful, I'm famous, I have money, I have blah, 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 blah. Why don't I feel comfort? Why am I in this energy or headspace? Why can't, when I have sex with people, I don't feel anything? I don't know what it's like to care about other people. And there's something about like disingenuous about it because I'm like, well, some of that is actually being like a human. And people hate to admit that. Especially when it's like, well, yeah, if you went through trauma and stuff like that, like again, I'm seeing like this pile is definitely like the dog eat dog mindset. Y'all are like everyone's trying to compete to the on the corporate ladder or whatever, and so like the whole like follow your dreams, that's not real. I don't know why you chose a tarot reading. Maybe you're one of those people that are creepily watching me, but you're like, what is it that you consider passion? And for me, it's a connection to life. It is spiritually connected. It seems to be something that you probably are not relating to because you don't feel it, and you guys are like, well, you're just disillusioned. You're not here on Earth. Like again, like everybody wants to climb the corporate ladder, and you're just foolish if you don't. And I'm like, why? Like, yeah, I just feel like you and I are on very opposite sides of the spectrum. But you like to watch me because it entertains you, because you like to laugh at me, or you're just very much like, oh, I'm so insecure. I can't believe someone doesn't want to like worship a system that clearly doesn't work. It works for you, but there's a lot of people it doesn't work for. With this guy, what is this? Yeah, so basically he's got this hazmat suit. He's cleaning up all this garbage. There's something about this pile where you guys, in order to connect to your passion, or maybe this divine frequency, you guys. So what you guys do in your lives is like, so when you look at all this stuff, we've got like vices, for example, we've got money, we've got drugs, alcohol, porn, football, eBay, like there's all this kind of stuff, right? It's just material stuff, it's noise, it's garbage. There's something unhealthy about it, and it's like this person, like normally this is like, hey, I'm cleaning all this stuff up. In your case, you guys are sucking that in. And you're fueling yourselves with it, which is super interesting. Because to me, like to a lot of other people, that sort of stuff drains them. Like, for example, like all of this like pursuit of money and like getting corrupted and whatever. Like, I feel like this version of you doesn't know how to control itself, or it doesn't even realize that it's creating a smog inside of its own mask because you're inhaling and injecting it. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of like, not like demonic energy because like you guys aren't like possessed or anything, but there's definitely this energy of like I'm literally seeing like the devil and being like, yeah, like I'm thinking from Good Omens, the TV show where you have like the different plagues that are coming and they all like just really enjoy doing that whatever. That's kind of how you guys act. Is like you get energy from this when it's killing you. And that's what's super interesting because like again, I'm seeing like with the smoking or whatever, there's something about like I don't know if you feel like I believe that smoking kills cancer, which I'm like that doesn't make any sense, but there's something about like the way your brain works that you're like, yeah, if I smoke cigarettes, it makes me feel powerful. Which according to medical stuff, like it's cancer inducing. It actually hurts your body over time. But for something in this mindset, it's literally saying, no, it gives me strength. And it gives me power over other people. And there's something like you don't want to admit that this stuff doesn't long-term serve you. I'm also seeing, like, so I've been having dreams a lot of fires, natural disasters, all this other stuff, and I'm literally seeing, like, buildings full of people dancing in them, and they're on fire, and no one's leaving the building. And in the dream, I'm driving down the highway because I'm like, I know that I just need to get out of the city. It's time for me to go. But everybody else, they want to sit in the burning fire and go with it. And I think that's maybe you guys, you're of that energy where you're like, well, if I die, I die. I just don't mind taking you with me. And there's like a lust for blood here that I think is misplaced because I think you guys aren't understanding that you're projecting this, but I don't think you really care because of whatever's possessing you or whatever this connection is. Maybe you guys hate spiritual people. We've got this caretaker. And so I do feel like you vilify people that take care of, like, for example, I was hearing like the wealthy, but to me, I was like, what are you talking about? Like this, like there's like a person that's clearly homeless and like carrying all this stuff. Like this caretaker person is literally like helping these people despite it raining and all this other stuff. And like, there's something about you guys just really hate, like you treat people like objects. Yeah, because there's something about, like, you could literally see a homeless guy in America and you think that they're, like, wealthy compared to a homeless person in Africa, and I'm like, they're still homeless. You know what I mean? But you guys don't know the difference because of the way your brain's wired. Yeah, make sure you drink some water, pile number 4. There's something about, like, it's kind of like whatever version of this brain piece of you is, it's holding the rest of you hostage. Because I feel like you're afraid of yourself. And this probably happened to you as a kid, where, like, for example, with this, like, sociopath energy, like, you gained these skills in this complex to survive a very brutal world. Okay? That's maybe why you resonate with other sociopaths and narcissists or whatever, because you're like, yeah, we know how the world actually works. All those wimpy, empathetic people, they don't actually know how to survive and blah, 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 all that crap. Meanwhile, there's a piece inside of you. There's a little boy or a little girl that knows what you're doing is wrong. And some of you guys can't connect to it, but I feel like with this pile in general, that's why you keep showing up. You guys know that what you're doing is wrong. And that caretaker, you want that caretaker to choose you someday. But you know they won't because they know what you are. And this is where your relationship with God comes in. And you're like, there is no God. And I'm like, okay. Then why are you here? And it's like, well, because it's your choice. It's like, it's my choice to do readings, to talk to y'all, but like, how do you keep finding me? Like, I'm not playing with your head, guys. Y'all are. I'm not being mean for telling others how they hurt me. So, I think maybe in order to find your passion, again, maybe your passion for life or connection, is you focus a lot on how other people hurt you, but you don't tell them. So, for example, I'm feeling like with like Elon Musk, we'll use him as an example, where he's like, empathy is a weakness in society. And I'm like, okay, Elon, if you were stranded in a desert and someone had water that you needed, and you were too weak to fight and get that water from that person, you would very much want someone to give you that water so you could survive. And a bunch of you are like, no, not really, I'd let myself die in that desert. I'm like, bullshit. Bullshit. Okay? Because otherwise you'd just kill yourself, and then you wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have to bother having this conversation. No, you'd want that person to give you the water. And maybe you'd want to try to strangle or fight them for the water, because that piece of your brain is telling you, I gotta survive. Meanwhile, the person will give it to you if you ask. There's something about the way society has hurt you. Maybe your parents hurt you. Maybe you got diddled as a kid. There's something about, instead of telling people what you're experiencing on the inside, you just hold it back or you fight. Which makes sense because the environment you were raised, feelings don't matter. So you don't understand the root of your lack of empathy. Because it's like, being mean is cool. Yeah, let's beat up the axolotl person, but really, we like the axolotl person. And you're like, no, we don't. And I'm like, well, then why would you be obsessed with them? It's kind of like the idea of like all those dudes that talk about how much they hate women. And then they're like, oh, well, we have sex with them to control them and whatever and blah, 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 blah. But like, if you hated women that much, why are they still around? You know what I mean? And you're like, well, we let them survive. Like, it just starts getting more and more quiet the more you start to question this stuff. And with telling others, there's something that you didn't tell other people about you, huh? Because to me, if you're a sociopath, if you can't feel anything, why not tell other people about it? I'd love to talk to you, to understand you. And you're like, well, they hurt me. Empathetic people hurt me. Did they? Or did you hurt yourself? And you know, I'm pretty sure you probably were hurt by empathetic people. And this is like a complaint, for example, if you talk about like Democrats and social justice warriors, you're like, oh, well, they're so mean to people and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, there are a lot of shitty people that try to be helpers and hurt people. But did a Democrat really come into your life and hurt your feelings to the point where you want to go kill other people? Take everything they have? Feel powerful? How are you powerful? Like, I'm literally seeing, like, an adult me on torturing a cat, you know, because you hear about all those stuff with sociopaths or whatever. You're like, yeah, I was just watching what it was doing and blah, 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 blah. Because, like, there's, like, a energy of, like, I feel cool when I do that because I have power. And it's like, okay, now what? And you're like, what do you mean, now what? What this pile does, pile number 4, the reason why you don't have any passion at all is because you desensitized yourself to what makes you a human. Now, how do you undesensitize yourself? Well, I don't want to do that. Like, immediately you're like all panicky, right? Because it's like, that exposes the pain that you have. Because if someone did that to you and you became that cat, you all pretend like, yes, I'm going to enjoy it. Yes, I'm going to like whatever. You can't break me. I can't feel. I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of y'all, you ain't nothing but a wuss. Deep down. And it's time you stop messing with people who are not wusses deep down. Because your grade school bullying shit is getting old. And we're going to be putting the hammer down on you very soon if you don't stop hurting other people. Now, I can help you figure out how you work through this if you want redemption. A lot of you don't. However, what I want you to understand is, like, you know, pain is not the threat here. Feeling is the threat here. Because you rely on the fact that you don't feel a thing in order to do what you're doing. But I can guarantee you that you will be able to feel something very soon. And that's the only way out. If you want your passion, you got to admit that you're not impenetrable. That, yeah, there is a piece of you that feels. And it's hurt. And you reinforce these cycles over and over and over again so you don't feel the hurt. But instead, every time you do that, you hurt yourself. And the only reason you haven't killed yourself is because you're able to project outwards. Now, if I pulled your energy back in, you'd probably kill yourself. Because you'd be able to, like, energetically, all these different things would compound. And I'm spiritually guided to say that you are protected at this time. That if you do want to heal and grow out of your situation, you can. You can befriend the axolotl person. But you can't be doing things to them that doesn't support their highest good. Or your highest good. I'm just being spiritually guided to tell you that, like, in this space, it's not going to fly. And there's consequences. Beyond my control as a reader, and beyond your control as a person witnessing. I am not defined by my relationship to others. Yeah. So for those of you guys that are like very much like, yeah, I have to hang out with the best people. there's something that you're blind to in these relationships with others. Because while you believe that all the people around you that are powerful and smart and capable and all that stuff, you think everybody's a sociopath like you. You're like, there's either the sheep or the wolves. And there are guard dogs, but they don't do much. You guys just don't know how they operate. And with my relationships, there's something about, like, you're too trusting in the greed of others, of the objectification that you do. Because the people around you, you believe, operate like objects. And, like, again, this is kind of like, you know, people know how to work around bullies. And people like you. We've seen it for ages and generations. And you want to learn how we figure it out. And the reality is, you don't. You never see us coming because you don't have what we got. And that's in our chest, it's in our intuition. And there's no way for me to even explain it to you, even if I tried. The only way you can get it, access to it, is if you ask. But it's going to hurt a lot when you finally face it. But if you ask, that also is what makes you good. And unfortunately, again, good and evil and all that stuff, there's like a certain amount of resignation that there will always be both energies in the world. And there's a lot of gray. But you don't get to control who lives and who dies, who is the monster and the savior. Death gets to choose what death wants to do with all of us. And the way you define your relationships with others is backwards. And it's not going to work in your favor. Especially if you try to mess with anybody here. Okay? I don't need to hurt myself to listen to my needs. Yeah. You're allowed to just say, hey, I need money to buy food, to buy groceries. I need money to do blah, 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 blah. Because, like, to me, this has the energy of, like, I've got an excessive amount of money, and I want to look pretty. But, like, you don't even know what pretty looks like because you're emulating what other humans feel and think. Again, maybe there's, like, intergenerational incest here. Maybe there's been some kind of, something messed up happened in your family system. That much I can tell you. Because with myself, it's all about you. And you don't know how to let go. You don't know how to clear this out. And that's why you gotta start listening to yourself first, your own words. And you can't. And I mean, I know this, so for example, like I have PTSD. So an example of this is if I'm sitting here working on my PTSD in therapy, I'll be talking to my therapist and we'll be trying to explore like what trigger it is. Because I'll be like, I don't know what my triggers are because usually the specific format of what triggers it isn't specific. And then I'll say something and we'll bring something up and then boom, 1 minute I'm talking to her, the next minute I don't even remember what's going on. I think that happens to you guys all the time. And you didn't know that that's what that was. That's what we like to call a trigger in therapy, you know? And there's something about like someone's not being mean to you when you're having an anxiety response. But you're remembering something when you were a child that any sort of consequence you had to your actions was met with, you're a monster. You're not just a bad kid. You are not human. You are subhuman. And you are defined as the object that you are. The results you put out. You're a machine. You're a pussy. You are nothing. And that's how they hurt you. And that's why you're ingesting all this other nasty shit into your spirit, is because after someone took the life out of you, they put all their dirty laundry back for you to hold, and then you start sucking up all of everybody else's crap. Personally, I think you guys are actually very empathetic. You just haven't learned how to heal yourself. You haven't learned how to drain the swamp, metaphorically. You haven't learned how you absorbed all this other negativity from the people around you. And it's time you cleanse it. That's how you're going to get your passion back, is to me, like, you've got other people's shit inside of you that's not even yours. Loneliness is not a failure or a sign you are alone. Yeah, some of you guys are incels. Maybe some of you guys are like, you bitch about the loneliness epidemic, or like, you just are always looking for signs that you're alone, which statistically is hella unlikely. Okay, you want to pull out logic and reason. But like loneliness, you would feel that anyway, even if you were around your people, because this piece of you is alienated. It exists only to serve and to play the monster in a scenario when it's not a monster. No human being is truly a monster when you get down to it. There's all kinds of fucked up things that they do, but like, again, there's something about you that, like, when you label this energy within you as monstrous or subhuman, you neglect to recognize that it is a person. It's just a person you don't know. And it's not an object. It's not distorted, it's not a mental illness. This is a version of you that doesn't have self-control. And it's very afraid and lonely. Maybe that's why you're beating other people up, because you're like, I'm a failure. I'm a failure as a dad. I'm a failure as blah, 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 blah. And instead of talking to that version of you and saying, hey, what's wrong? You don't know how. And it's not worthy of talking to anyway. No one else can talk to it, but we're having a conversation with it right now. So let's go. I accept that not all love is made for me. Yeah. Again, because people are objects, you don't have the objectivity to tell when someone's not for you. So then, yeah, someone who doesn't like you isn't going to treat you well. And you can torture a person into being around you. You can hold resources over their head. You can do all this stuff, but like, you're trying to emulate the ghost of a relationship. And like, you guys are abusive. I'm just going to be straight. Because you don't understand that being a control freak is an abuser. And people don't use those words around you because we gotta paint it nice. And there's something about like acceptance that, like, say for example, say it's raining outside. You're the type of person that's a contrarian that'll say it's not raining outside, just to mess with someone's head. But deep down, you know it's raining outside. It's like that's what's happening. You can't change reality. But because of the manipulation and gaslighting that's happened to you, you do it to others. And then slowly, as it erodes your capacity to think and feel and to touch, you have to create your own distorted inner world to interact with the outer world. And then you do it to others. Because the only way that people can connect to you on this level, this piece of you, this inner child that desperately wants to connect with other people, the only way this inner child piece of you can connect with other people is if they're the same level of distortion and thinking. Because at some point, some person can go low enough in your frequency, just, I'm seeing like holding a finger out to a baby and like touching the baby's hand and shaking it, saying, hey, you're still here. I don't know if maybe you were neglected as a child, like maybe you weren't held enough or whatever. There's definitely like, when you get into some of those narcissist parts or whatever, again, this isn't official therapy advice, but from my personal observation from energetic stuff, there's versions of your subconscious that develop whenever you weren't treated like a human as a baby and as like very young, and that's like really important to your brain's development, as you know. And so like, made for me, like, you guys have the fundamental fear ingrained in you from being a baby of being neglected. And so that's what leads to a lot of this disconnected churn. Some of it you can't heal from, but some of it you will be able to. Or at least we're going to try. I don't have to feel okay if I'm not safe. I feel like you grew up in environments where you were forced to say I'm safe when you're not. So then you started to believe it. And I think like you're allowed to tell yourself, okay, just to accept things as they are. And I think like in order to get your passion back, I think you have to reclaim understanding what is actually okay for you. Step away from the survival of the fittest. Actually, like, sit in the woods, for example, and be like, you're completely 110% alone. Okay? And logically, no one's coming out there to get you or whatever. You're just sitting in the woods. And you're looking around and you're like, okay, there's like how many trees around me? I'm sitting here. I had food before I got here. I had water. I don't need to use the restroom. I just need to breathe. I'm just here. And so you're sitting in that space and you're like, okay, this is what okay feels like. Touch the grass. Everything in my body works. Feel in my nose, my head. What am I feeling right now? And you're like, nothing. And it's like, is it nothing? Is it nothing? And then eventually you get to like, well, I'm still not safe. And you're like, why? And you're like, well, at any moment in time, someone can come out from the woods and attack me. Statistically, there's a likelihood. And I'm like, okay, but how likely? Low. Okay, so why are you still not feeling safe? Because true safety doesn't truly exist. And I think that's where the root of this issue is you are so stuck in your lack and this frequency that you can't accept that there is never 110% safe. And so you feel like you have to be on this pathway and journey constantly because you're not safe. Well, now you're not safe because, yeah, you did a lot of fucked up things. Now people are after you. And you have to reteach yourself that love is made for you. And you're like, I don't know what love is. And you're like, okay, well, I've got plenty of other videos for that, but not in this one. I accept my inner duality. Yeah. Something about you guys, like, again, for those of you that are not fully in this energy, this is just a piece of you. And so you're like, oh my God. Like, who are you attracting to your mental health channel? And I'm like, somebody who's mentally ill. Spoilers. With the I accept my inner duality, I think it's important to understand that all versions of your brain are created to make you feel safe, to protect yourself. And it's not always going to come out right. It's not always going to come out the way society wants you to think. And I feel like with this inner objectivity, like you're treating it like it's an object, like it's this foreign thing. When it's like, yeah, no, it's still you. That's where the lack of accountability comes in. Is this dark energy that's always watching you. You have to accept that it's you. It's not a monster. It's not this woolly mammoth fictional thing. It's you. And it's not happy with the way things have been going. With you, your inner child, society. And that's where the wall is you got to break down the wall and you have to go within and have a conversation with it and embrace it just like you would the light versions of yourself. Because that's why you're taking it out on everybody else. But like nobody else can touch it but you first. And if you want to have relationships with other people, if you want to experience empathy, you want to experience all this stuff, you have to feel. And if you can't feel, again, for some of you guys with the not feeling, like, that comes with any version of PTSD. You're not a sociopath for that. Some of you are. But in general, though, this energy, it's like, yeah, like, if you want to feel things, you have to connect to it. You have to connect in certain kind of ways. And some versions of you, like for example, I'm feeling like a robot brain, like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in society that's not going to make sense. But again, it's statistically impossible for you to always be the only one. You can be in a top percentile, but like you just want to be that extra person so you don't have to put in the work. You don't have to seek out the energy because it's going to trigger you, understandably. You've got the 8 of Pentacles. So one thing about your passion, too, is like you guys like work really hard. So regardless of the fact if you're a sociopath or narcissist or whatever, who cares about the labels, this version of you works hard. And that's something you should give it a pat on the back for. There's something about like, you know what? You don't have to smile if you don't want to. Or you don't need to. It's just that you have to understand that when you're numbed out like this, you don't always know how to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you don't see the purpose of the flowers in the hair. When it's the flowers are supposed to remind you about being soft, about life being like, you like the fragrancy. For you guys, I don't know why. Maybe you guys just don't understand art and artists, but like you do on some level. And you're like, no, I don't. I'm like, yeah, you do. You like how things look. And you're like, no, I don't. And I'm like, well, if your inner perpetrator wasn't trying to hurt pretty people or creative types, why do you think that would be? Because otherwise you wouldn't notice them at all. And you're like, oh, well, it's because it's a weakness. And I'm like, I know. Where do you think that came from? Because if you were actually going from a logical standpoint, it wouldn't matter. You'd just be like, weakness is weakness. What they look like or the beauty of things doesn't matter. It actually can be a strength, you know? Or like a warning sign, like think of the poison dart frog. It just occurs. Like it occurs in nature. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, I think as you start to challenge these belief systems of being like, is it nature or is it just me trying to punish something that I'm seeing? Is it about my own wounds? Is it about my childhood? You got the yak with the Seven of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, I'm seeing something about being snowed in. Maybe you guys were isolated from people. I'm seeing like long hair, so maybe you guys don't take care of yourselves. Which you should. And you're like, there's no point in that. I don't need it. And I'm like, grooming does have health benefits if you want to get that way. But there's something about like, you just want to be alone. And you can take care of yourself and you want to be a bull and you want to be strong. But you want to punish other people for what? Because I can't control them? You can't control the weather, but you're not getting mad at there being rain clouds. It's not healthy for you to always be in that, like, I have to push everybody and everything around. That's how you've been using to push yourself forward, right? Like, is that how you try to survive? Is that pushing? And being like, well, if I'm not pushing other people around, then I'm not pushing myself. Because, like, I'm sure when you're by yourself, you don't do this shit. You turn it off. You're like, well, I have to be in control. I'm like, why? Otherwise, they're going to come after you. Well, yeah, they're going to come after you if you hurt people. That's the consequence. And they're like, I don't have consequences. Yeah, you do. You're just not capable of picking up on it because of what you're projecting. And you're like, I'm not capable. I'm like, yes, you are. Some of you aren't, but a lot of you are. We've got the Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, so there's something about, like, you make money in groups of people. Okay, so something about, like, what you're passionate about is... There's something about women. So maybe you do like women. Maybe you're sexually attracted to women and you hate that. You absolutely hate that you have an attraction towards females. The female body, whatever, because you're like, all women are awful and blah, 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 blah. And it's almost like you would totally sacrifice your dreams and goals for another buck. Because for some reason, you believe that, okay, if I acquire wealth, yeah, money can buy me things, but it's kind of like, you almost don't like it in that way. It's almost like your brain works like a computer where it's almost like you get points. You use money and status as a way to tell yourself, how good am I doing at life? Like, this is my health status. This is how much money I have or whatever. It's like very much like you don't care if you need to spend the money on food or clothing or going out and partying or traveling. Like, it's literally like, I'm just acquiring because I just want the numbers to go up. I don't know, I'm like, some of you guys might be undiagnosed autistic because I'm literally sitting here just being like, some of the different behaviors you have. Again, I don't want this reading is not meant to diagnose anybody, but I'm just kind of like, you might want to consider talking to a mental health professional. Because some of the stuff I'm like, yeah, you could work through this stuff out in therapy. Like, this isn't very new energy. Or anything surprising to me. Specifically too, like maybe you guys struggle with porn addictions. I just feel like you're very rigid because you don't know how to handle nuances. You like to pretend like you're the alpha or you're in charge, but you don't actually know how life works. The only way that you can gain control is pretending like you're this yak. Or again, you're pushing and controlling other people. And so, like, you just don't know what your passion is, though. Because, like, again, it's like you have energy that moves you, but you're not connected to it. You're not connected to life. You know? It's like there's like a beautiful background and all this other stuff, and it's like, and you're still sitting here like, I want to punish it, and it's like, what is there to punish? It's neutral. And I was like, well, it's because of my beliefs, and I was like, what belief is that? And you're like, neutral. Yeah, there's something about like black and white thinking that like you can't think in nuances because it scares you, or it scares you away. And to me, it's like, why? You're clearly, we already established that you're powerful, you're well connected, you have a lot of knowledge, you want to feel safe. So then what are you gaining? Nothing. You're like, what you want is yourself. And you're just replaying, like with this whole like monster energy. I'm like, you're literally just echoing what had been done to you generationally. But you didn't gain anything from it. You just caused pain. And so you'd rather cover your eyes. Because the shame is there, you just can't feel it. It's blocking you from receiving the empathy. And if you want to get out of this, you have to close your eyes, take a couple deep breaths, and lean back into this. And experience the pain that you put other people through generationally. And then when you come out the other side, you're going to see the sun again. The only way out is in. We will be together again. I look for you everywhere. Thank you guys so much for Thank you guys so much for watching this reading. Please like, subscribe, comment down below if this resonated with you. Check out my blog for more information about spiritual topics. And I will see you all next time. Take care.